Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Ngeen nuyu ku nekk sa tur ak sa sant Basiru ci manu daale. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Um,
Coach, can you hear me?
yes, I'm hearing you loud and clear.
Coach,
Yes, sir. Me mooy kan de me mooy kan.
just a moment.
Okay, Abib la jibe bari. I think we will have to start before
Yes.
Abib can come in. All right, guys, thank you very much. maa ngi wax ne rek asalaamaaleykum wa
Okay.
rahmatulah.
I'm good then. I'm good.
Taala wa barakaatu. ñu ngi nuyu ku nekk sa tur ak sa sanda. di leen welcome back rek si suñ Friday edition hashtag New York Gambian Football. First of all ñu ngi jégalu rek after korite bi Ramadan bi dañ jëloon a break just to get away with re-energize suñ boppa. We're gonna jégalu rek last week we should have been on air waaye dañ amoon some technical issues so we were unable to come waaye ñu ngi jégalu rek di leen wax ne rek thanks for the calls, the texts, the concerns why we are not coming live, why just didn't reassure everything is under control. Is because sometimes it's just a busy schedule. Lola one rek why do dara. Why you get one rek just go ahead and share live be show be so that you discuss tey nag am nañ fi suñ gan xam nañ ne the flyers were out Mr. Sadibou Kamaso koo xam ne moom tamit man duma ko introduce sax damaa bàyyi mu introduce boppam Pressy xam naa dañoo am little bit patient because Gambia xam nañ ne suñ connection bi it's kind of down sometimes if they them poor why we'll keep trying tey doing sona and then make sure that ñu am ko because we have very very important issues to discuss regarding Gambian football maa ngi try Sadibou nag waaye looks like his connection is kind of a little bit going away yeah so lañ doon dégg rek loud and clear rek ngeen jox ñu a thumbs up And also don't hesitate to send in your comments. Hit then go by Musivo Rec, why you can send in your comments. If anything you wanted to ask Sadibo about, Mungan, you reach out, via the comment section. We Nako monitor, and then we will also try to put those questions to him. Because it's an opportunity for people to ask questions as well. Regarding mom, regarding TRC. What are the plans? If anything will happen in COVID, correct? You can come. You can just be here. Ngalache. We will be happy to answer the question. Yeah, Sadi bu nag am ngeen struggle ak network am bi so nañ ko joxagum si a minute mu reconnect su ko defee ñu continuer. Nyasi Bakari, thank you very much, brother. Thank you for for letting us know that we loud and clear.
Wait. Four sachet hoodie. Four sachet hoodie.
I'll touch. Maha, thank you very much. I know you're the top fan. Top fan.
Yang ma jeeku nag ak sa hoodie bi sana foo gëlee hoodie bi. Non na leer.
Habib no nañ jëma after si kanam.
Ana bii ku xoo boobu nekkul def business.
No. Bi gift la suma team bi ñoo ma ko jox gift.
Sa team bi nag wax leen ne di yokkee na. Team Gambia lañ wax.
Waaw wax dëgg
hoodie ak lu ma bari saati Gambia mosuma am hoodie Gambia. so boobu moom non yéen jéego leen.
nga jéego ha. Chairman.
Asalaamaaleykum wa rahmatullah.
Chairman, mu ngi struggle ak network Gambia little bit so.
Gambia la nekka.
waaw.
Gambia du réew. laa wallahi talaay.
moo taxit ma bëggoon ko am before mu doon dellu.
that is cable ñu ngi ko lañ depuis 2012 ba léegi mënut a correct.
Chairman ñu bàyyi la nga nuyoo rek su ko defee ñu continuer show bi.
waaleykum asalaam wa rahmatullah wa barakaatu jërë ngeen jëf.
Habib ma bàyyi la nga nuyoo yow su ko defee nga gars yi namoon nañ la trop.
waaw once again rek
dafa mel ni ki tey internet bi moom daal.
once again rek nawoon fawoon. ma ne ko nawoon fawoon rek it's always nice to be here sana. gars yi namoon nañ ñu waaye nag. xam nga rek léegi. ma ne ko léegi moom dañuy xaw a jafe xam nga rek soo nekkee si outside Gambia léegi nga nekk si ay teexa yoo xam ne doo am time. waaye li nga xam ne mooy the most important thing mooy ñun suñu mind always mu ngi si Gambia ak li xew Gambia. most importantly Gambian football so su ñëwul rek dafa nekk loo xam ne is beyond our control.
Chairman dafa nduru ne ñàkk nañ Habib tamit. waaw Chairman ñu xuusi mbir mi rek because xam nañ ne ok. Habib, Chairman, we get struggle at network and I know it's going to be a little bit difficult. Why didn't continue to try?
Well, Gambia having this problem about lately. They are all complaining. There was a football match they were live on Facebook, so I don't know what's happening.
Wow, yeah. I mean,
Gambia internet is a problem.
chairman, yang nga dega.
waa maa ngi leen a dégg loud and clear.
Okay, okay. Legi nañ who's straight away si show bi. Tay bugan nañu laal a very important point affecting Gambian football. First of all, this past week has been really, really difficult at the football house.
Yeah.
There is a lot of things trending. Dinañ laal si loolu. Also dinañ laal a little bit about sports agency bi. Sports agency bi. What's the latest regarding the agency bi? Because Gambians would like to know. And then and dinañ laal a little bit as well sounds or thoughts about the new national team coach. Hina bobu la ñoo mujjé because foog ñu xuus si game ëllëg bi tamit against the Chelsea. But also dinañ laal a little bit about the regions, because xam nañ ne TRC is very concerned about what is going on around the regions, and then because so xoolee suñ manifesto bi, we keep talking, we keep focusing on about the bottom top approach, starting from the regions and so on. So we'll sound opinion about things that happens in the region as well. First of all, this week, like I said, has been really difficult. The GFF has been hit by a sex scandal. Say football house be. Ñëpp dégg nañ from sources online networks. One of veteran journalists in the Gambia, Peter Gomez, reported on Coffee Time. It was confirmed by a senior official at the Gambia Football Federation that yes, they are hit by a sex scandal issue at the federation, and the individual has been sent on a leave, whilst they investigate this issue. First of all, these are delicate issues. These are very, very dangerous, sensitive issues. Suñ ñëwee loo xam ne la si wàllu sex la ak the other side, the other side is it's really difficult for people to comprehend. How serious is this issue that is the football house right now?
Thank you, Susanna. Good evening, everyone. Good evening to our listeners and viewers who are watching us today. It's a pleasure to be here. I think I've been away for quite a while now. I've been busy traveling. These two have been trying to catch me for an interview, but Alhamdulillah, today I'm able to grant this. Thank you, Sana. I believe FIFA stands on issues of sexual assault or sexual misconduct are very clear. Um, TRC has issued a statement in respect of the said issue. We've made it clear that presumption of innocence is the right of every Gambian, which is enshrined in the Constitution of the Republic of the Gambia, Section 24, 3, subsection A, subsection 3A, that every individual is presumed innocent until proven guilty. From what we know is this happened last Thursday, and then this week, veteran broadcaster Peter Gomez, who has one of the biggest, listeners, mentioned the fact that an issue that is delicate and serious of this nature has happened at the football house, and the individual has been sent on leave, and the matter is being investigated. Um, these issues are very, very delicate and they're very serious because FIFA has a zero tolerance for sexual misconduct. And that is why you saw the president of the Spanish football, Rubiales, who claimed that the kiss on Hermoso's lips were consensual. Despite that, the female footballers refused to play, and there was a lot of noise, and eventually, he was suspended. So the rest of the story. The Zambian coach, was investigated, for something similar with the players where they said he's been abusing female players and things of that sort. So FIFA has a zero tolerance on this. And as stakeholders, we will all be watching, listening to see what happens. But again, it's presumption of innocence until proven guilty. But like I said in the statement, our women in football deserve so much respect because our women have suffered enough some of the things we said even before the 2022 elections, that the women play at 3 o'clock, those things are still happening. FIFA had given enough money for women's football to change for better. Women's football has not changed for better. So this issue of this sexual misconduct, and we all know, they said a particular director, but we all know, we all Gambians, and we know what is happening. So we're watching and we'll see what comes out of it, and hopefully they take it serious, because even if they don't, we will.
Yeah, but don't you think as well, from an administrative point of view, it would have been very beneficial to the public if they, xam naa ne nañ try ñu wax si olof tuuti nag, because gars maa bind si ron ne, we should try to talk on the local language. Foogaloon ne tamit ne na doon important trop, in the, pour fair play and transparency, ñu issue a statement, to wane ne lii xew na balaa ngaa wax call journalist si suuf di ko wax. Fédération bi mu ngi fa, te ñi involve seen issue dafa sensitive mooy jigéen ñi. Foog la woon ne dañu waroon a génne statement, pour stakeholders yi xam ne lii xew na dëgg la, xew na, but we are investigating it. Even though, we understand that there are protocols, you find there are legal matters, you find tamit, so you have to be conscious about all those things. Why not one minute, degala li hell na balani the rumor, because JFM on the phone you rumor more than any. Why not you go what's the stakeholders in the Joland respect, the women football respect, the fact that the nim dal, it's a very delicate gender. It's for on not on bathroom, you get a release to confirm that the Lee hell rather than you call an individual, they don't want to hell.
Was coach, federation is always firefighting. They always react to things. They're never in front. And I think we should be surgical about this. As we said, it's presumption of innocence. They said the particular director has been suspended. We all know. And, the department that some of these statements come from, that is the department that has been rocked by this allegation. And luma de wax moy ne leadership, entrustment la bo xamne has to be discharged with humility, humanity, and a sense of duty of care. You owe the stakeholders that duty of care. Mota dama de wax stakeholders yi nekut ñu de ñew rek ñu vote. Everybody else ko xamne amna ci stake, da nga jënd gerte, da nga jënd ticket, or da nga jënd jazzy, you own a stake in football, because legi wax nañ ko, in modern football the two most important people are the fans and the players, because ñoo de indi revenue. Players yi dañoo entertain you in the revenue, fans yi ñoo ñu dugal seen xaalis. So you owe the fans a duty of care, you owe the stakeholders a duty of care. Like I said, to be surgical about this, is the department that handles communications that is rocked by this. And normally, if things like this happen, ñoo de def ci social media platform yi and throw things around, say things, make allegations, fight back. So let us see how they come back from this. And like I said, we are watching. But the federation owes the stakeholders a duty of care. They owe them, that, pressure to inform the general public. It's okay. They can tell, veteran broadcaster, Peter Gomez, so he broadcasts on his platform. But you haven't seen it on any newspaper. Why? Because the individual involved, as we all know, is in that journalism fraternity. So, we feel that because if he was another individual, these things would have gone viral. The only place you're seeing it viral is on social media. Maybe Gumfoot and them, because man, I'm not on social media. But has it been captured on any other media platform? No. Fine, no. Even though it's a sexual allegation, but the fact that the individual has been suspended pending investigation, which means amna lu ñuul ci sow bi. And does the federation have the capacity to investigate such a matter? Because sexual assault is criminal. So I hope they understand that. Sexual assault is criminal. That is something that has to be handled at the level of the police. So if and they haven't said anything, we'll wait and see. But these are things you owe the people a duty of care to come and tell us.
Wow. It's good to have somebody who's legal minded. Come I'm not a legal background. So this is easy, Abib. The new one that this is criminal. So loo xam ne criminal la si dëkk bi
waaw loolu
foog naa ne yow ñi nekk seen liggéey ñooñu nga leen ko war a pousse pour ñu liggéey seen liggéey.
waaw nga foofu noonu dafa important su gaa yi waxee ñu ngi investigate ñaan ñooy investigate because am na loi yooyu yooyu can be within the GFF but su nekkee law bi dafa exceed ñoom seen power dafa war a ñëw to the power of the land mooy the police have to come and do the right thing because case bi ñu ko reporté GFF lii right now daf leen xaw a soppaas in foog police yi seen loxo nekk ci waaye there is something loo xam ne moo important fii nii this is a huge case waaye comme ni ko Sadio bu waxee soo bàyyi xel man I know a lot of media houses yoo xam ne they didn't say a word about it defuñu sax a Facebook post about it if I am not wrong I think it's only KB Sonko ku ma gis moom mu si binda waaye soo xoolee some of these journalists most of them they remain quiet even though xam nañ ne Peter Gomez su nekkee ne sax we are not so
I think doguma la de Habibi, you remember towards the GFF elections when issues of ne Sadibou dafa riral xaalis. You should remember.
Yep.
It was sent to most of the hanga it was sent and everyone was hanga man nekuma Facebook. ñu ne ay Watson Gambia yëpp ñu ngi ko fa ay Ifang Bondi ak yooyu noonu it was sent.
Yep.
It went viral. Understand nga te issue boo xam ne ñoom a panel was established ak yooyu noonu yëpp so moo tax ma ne la bii does the GFF have the capacity to investigate something that is of sexual assault? I don't know whatever term it is because ñun xam nga ñun si dëkk bi lañ dëkka a lot of info is going round.
Yep.
The boy bi tamit ne Dubai a lot of info is going round when the incident happened some of the things that they've said and lu xew ak yooyu noonu but like I said even yow sa kër sa raka su la sàccee it's criminal despite ne yow sa diggante ak sa raka la the fact ne sàcca moo involved is a criminal matter su doon def la leb is civil so sexual assault or sexual misconduct has to be investigated by the police. The matter has to be forwarded to the police unless the police decides not to do anything or maybe they ask the lady not to press charges and things of that sort. So for me this is something loo xam ne is very delicate jarut sa ñu waste time. Let us allow them to come up with whatever they're coming up with, but the police needs to take over, and this thing has to be investigated thoroughly because Federation B, the last time I checked, has cameras. So whom happened, we do not know. But the Federation has cameras, so it is one party's word against the others, and the matter can go further. Unless guy buga ko dampen rek ñu brush ko under the carpet and then we move. Xam nga Gambia rek.
No,
Right.
no,
I think they
lu bari moo si ëmba yaa ngi wax yenn place comme like ñun dañ bañ ruumo te ruumo boobu noonu GFF ñoo war a setal ñëpp ñoom ñoo mun a ñëw release a statement to say ne yes we are hit by this but ñu ko investigate but we forwarded the issue to the police ñëpp dal ñu bàyyi ñëpp ñuy liggéey seen liggéey bu ko ñoo wax ne diw la because loolu lii come like
no coach ñoom niñ ko defee sax ñoom dañ gën a teen because ñu ne a particular director so which means yeneen director yi ñooñu seen jabar yi wala seen doom yi ñu ngee wonda ne suma papa la wala suma lii la it's important comme FIFA ak yooyu noonu dañ dee ñëwaat plain the Zambian coach they came out and said this guy was accused ne daf dee laal deni xale yi understand nga which it's one person's word against the other so loolu la you should always come out and say ne kii la let them not taint the other directors because xam nga loolu dafa ñaawloo xel.
Yeah, it's like the federation should have have a just release a statement one stakeholders in the Luhel you buy to the particular
Coach, do they really care? You imagine a federation that blocks people on their social media platforms, a federation that tells people that they do not care. You think that federation will come to the people and tell them this? The
Nah,
only people they feel they care about is the people who voted them into office.
yeah.
Even your hamne, when they deem you to be somebody whom may have voted otherwise, they treat you with so much impunity.
Yeah, man, lu ma si jaaxal mooy dama foog ne the fact that they allow the news to go out of GFF, then I think léegi gisuma no reason why duñ allow loi bi jël it course because yu bëri dafa dee xew waaye dañ ko dee nuba within themselves waaye di fact that ñoom accept nañ ne am na fu ko def. So in fact, in a proper country, even the police war ñoo xaar ñu oo leen because ñoom already accepté ne am na ku ko def and ñu ngi investigate loolu nag is more than enough for the police to come into play.
Yeah,
We'll see.
the thing
Hopefully.
is we are not also trying to point fingers. We should give him the benefit of the doubt. I think man fi ma waxe rek ne mooy you know the public needs to know. Don't just keep muted on it, because you get dégg lu bari. You get dégg lu bari ne the individual concern mu ngi wax ne because I mean you get ñëpp ñu ngi dégg lu bari the setup la
Man,
setup
I had
setup
a
la.
very prominent, a prominent journalist, the large on the Honorable Minister of Youth and Sports. She's an government interface with the media. Large nako issue be. I'm not aware, gisumako, but somebody, a very reliable person, told me, a prominent journalist, I mean, Fatu Network, Fatu Kamara, large minister, whether he's aware of this issue, and the minister made it clear, and they do not tolerate such issues. So, which means the matter be them na further. Understand, nga? Whether it's been picked up by the police, we do not know yet. Like I said, the federation be under the capacity to investigate this. Because of Lee, it's not the federation itself that should investigate it. When you have issues like this in FIFA, you have an investigative chamber. Understand? You have the judicial bodies, you have the independent. Or you investigate. Have they been contacted? What has been done? Do they know who are the witnesses? So Lee, like I said, presumption of innocence until the person is proven guilty beyond reasonable doubt, or he admits, definitely, and then the punitive measures that would follow would follow. You hear all sorts of things. Somebody has been set up, lolu yaga na si federation.
Yeah.
Hamga,
Yeah.
if we keep celebrating mediocrity, this is what we get. So I think we have more pressing issues because Lee dafa nek mata bo xamne it's delicate, like we said. It's presumption of innocence. Let them investigate. Let us see what they're going to come up with, and then we'll take this further.
Yeah, I mean, what sounds a final opinion on this matter whilst we move on to other
I know,
as well?
because yeah, man daal lu ma si jaaxal mooy man dama feel ne xëy na su gaay lii ñoomi neen la bu xewee ñoomi neen ñoo ko njëkk a xam so pour man su gaay amoon di intention to cover it ndogal xëy na nañ ko def di Gambian syndrome nañ xam nga nañ ko wax among themselves xam nga neexal janxa bi pour mu calm down waaye di fact ne dafa gën a GFF ba dem si a prominent journalist like Peter Gomez and they confirm ne xew na so I think ne li nga xam ne moo war a am dina am.
Habibi, gis nga doguma la de waaye su leen nawet boolee lii moo dee am nawet su boolee nii moo dee am bii du first time di xanaa you remember the issue of the GS when he was recorded by Campo.
Yep.
Everything was said. When I was there, everything was said. Ne kii Baboucarr moo set up Lamin Jasseh pour am something Baboucarr denied ak yooyu noonu so xam nga naweta leen boole so anybody who has anything about somebody dañ koo fire out. yaa ngi understand so moo tax dañ dee wax ne dafa am yenn yoo xam ne kaama bàyyil sa xel about certain things that happen in the area but because su fekkee ne that cohesion mu ngi foofu noonu I mean it would have been different and moo tax conduct dafa important so I think this is something that would an example has to be set. Let us wait and see because GFF phone of nine once a panel has been set up you investigate you don't hear anything kenn mooy door di leak information ne waaw lii moo xew ak yooyu noonu man buñ ma yóbboo si investigation panel bi ñooñu ñu ngi pare something like October man xaw ma ba March Lama president bi one ma wow li xew na ni you know it was kept there. And then after it's the same people who leaked it di ko jox ay ñomin Watson Gambia because man nekkuma Facebook that guy at Ifang Bondi ak yooyu noonu they were the same people who were leaking it, Standard and all of that. They started being investigated. They were the same people who were leaking it. Did they make the report public? No. So, you know, I
Right.
think there are more pressing issues than Lee. You
No,
said what they're going to come up with, but
ñoom dañ lack lu ñu lack is very important. ñoom dañ lack professionalism. They don't handle things amicably. The way they handle things is very, very, very crazy. But they have to be careful because not long ago, somebody was using their Twitter handle to white porn videos and to follow some nude ladies on social media. Loolu tam happen na. So loolu su happening boobu passé lii xew then something is really becoming a norm in that institution. Te loolu it's not a very good image for our country because GFF is a huge institution boo xam ne ñu ngi def Gambia. So from Twitter,
FIFA has a zero stance on sexual assault in football.
yeah, they have to act like normal human
Especially
beings. They have to act.
mata bi mu ngi xew especially mata bi mu ngi xew si football house bi. GFF they need to investigate this thoroughly and come out with a position on the matter.
Well, filmmaking Lee is already out in the open. If GFF don't want to do the right thing, Gambians have the right to pursue it, to talk to the police and how many names, how many everything. So it's we will allow them to do their job. Well,
And it should not just stop at this, huh? Going neglect women's football, it should not just stop at this, coach. That would be for another day. So
Yeah.
again, they deserve respect. If you look at the manifesto of this current GFF, I hope people have read it when they say midfield 5, back 4, Link Binanunu, when they copied the starting 11 to do something. You go there. I still have it. I still have it because we need to put, we need to scrutinize them. Demalga said, what did they say about women's football? Women's football, they'll ensure, they increase the number of women who participate in the executive. Yes. And then what? Learn more change. Learn more improve. What value did those women that have been added to the executive, what value did those women add to the federation? Like that, what value? Because if I can women's football, what we want to bring you, vote directly. They said, okay, they're going to do this. Even the fourth vice president idea was our idea. They took that. But one value they add, none. Women they play bente 3 o'clock. Are you aware? They know them through menstrual cycle. FIFA recently you adopt a position on that. You understand that because of even ko hamne yange adopt halal, you're being given opportunity, ko hamne yange gis a menstrual period, mun nga jël break and you still receive your salary because what they're doing is trying to protect women. So FIFA ñu ngi yobu women's football si benen level. What are we doing? Assess them and see yan development nga gis si women's football. None.
Yeah, but how about Gambia? Gambia? We don't have those kind of journalists. They don't hold our authorities accountable based on their promises. I'm Gambia because some journalists they just like to go with the transfers and what is flowing. While doing that a step back, whole li nga xam ne loolu la gars yi joxoon nit ñi loolu la gars yi promise nit ñi but Gambia is a country boo xam ne press we are miles behind when it comes to holding our authorities accountable. It's a problem.
Habibi, what we do in Gambia mostly, we applaud a fish for swimming. Jen bu fay nga ko tàccul ne hey jen bi mun na fay. Fire service officer ko xam ne dañ ko train pour mu fay safara mu dem mu fay safara nga tàccul ko. Things like that. You cannot applaud a lion for hunting a gazelle because that's what the lion has to do to survive.
Absolutely.
You cannot clap for a gazelle or an antelope for escaping a lion. That's what an antelope has to do to escape. So GFF would come out and say, yeah, we are the most successful federation because we've conducted AGMs every year. That's something you have to do. So, and we celebrate those things, the most successful federation. What? We've gone to AFCON back to back. we conduct AGMs every year. If you do not conduct AGMs every year, you don't get money from FIFA, Sumawaji.
Absolutely.
So these are some of the things. We shouldn't stop doing that. We should stop celebrating mediocrity. Because when we celebrate mediocrity, it means we are substandard. Xam nga nit ki, I say this a lot of times, and some people get angry. You look at them, the country is probably here, the stakeholders are here, and their mindset is there. So because they follow their mindset and the ideologies they have, they take along whatever it is they're involved in. But here, the people are here. Some of the people who are running these things, claim these people are doing well. Mindset bi instead of ñu jéem a xool ne yeneen countries yi ñu ngi dem coach yeneen dëkk yi ñoom Sénégal yooyu noonu yëpp dañ daan ñëw fii di play léegi ñun ñu ngee deewoo di yóbbu di jël fii players di leen yóbbu Sénégal. If you tell me to increase the number of women in the executive is development in women's football. Now you've added those women. Tell me what value have they added? Wax nga lan nga gis loo xam ne ñu ne there's a new development in women's football since bu lii xewee.
Just numbers.
And you saw the statement we made. Do you know how many people have been keeping silent about maybe a sexual misconduct or sexual assault for fear of retribution? No one would say anything. And anytime people say anything about them and somebody tells you they've been blocked on social media, or gaining on social media, the people who are going to bring you money, those are the people you're blocking. So you show me what has improved in women's football. Then teams, and then what?
It needs attention. Women's football needs a lot of attention. Why come then continue because in fact you discuss about women's football particularly because it's about time. It's about time by did them we represent the whole women football first and second division Dylan voter. You could not decide for about 20 teams or 20 something teams. You cannot decide for them. Nothing to direct them talk decide and know or fight and direct them talk decide and know. These are things you have that we should start working on those things. Put make sure new hall how we can push with the stakeholders. New put federation change lolo. Hamna ne put interest much for amoy. Kenn nit kuñ fa bàyyi mooy seen chairman bi or seen chairman bi or whatnot ñu contrôle leen pour ñu votal leen loolu rek kese moo tax ñu bàyyi leen fa but those things has to change. We have to grow as a nation. We have to grow we have to grow as stakeholders because ku nekk dafa am aaxa góor yi niñ amee aaxa ci football jigéen ñi noonu lañ amee aaxa ci football comme ñu ngee play league am seen first and second division teams. Come on, allow them to vote. They should vote.
Coach gis nga lii document B is the manifesto. I can send you the soft copy of the team Kaba. Gis nga nit ki manifesto nga ko dee whole day by. We're almost 2 years into office. If you go through the manifesto, they said, they are back for football development. They said they're going to improve infrastructure. They'll engage the government. They'll improve mini stadium in phases, even though they had delays in completion. Tell me, ban la guy improve? One, absolute failure. Because on this list here, they're telling you Banjul improvement of pavilions, Boxbar improvement of pavilions and dressing rooms. Serekunda is improvement of you get develop their own pavilions. Bakau improvement of pavilions and dressing rooms. Manja improvement, Gunjur construction of modern pavilion. Busumbala Lila guy, this is what they sold at that packed place at Oasis. This is what they sold to the stakeholders. You don't blame them. A salesperson would sell to you, and it depends. Salesperson can go and sell an ice cream to an Eskimo. So it depends if the person is enticed enough. They said they will continue to make capacity building core of their agenda. Ban capacity building. Apart from this club licensing, you have the requirements from CAF. Lolu CAF ñu ngi implement lolu since 2020. The club licensing is there for everyone to see because club licensing be am na domestic licensing and international licensing. You look at teams here, they'll tell you a particular team is very successful, winning league, they still struggle to be able to participate into CAF. You call that successful? How many years? Teams win the league and they cannot go and participate because teams are not financially sustaining themselves. Because so whole salaries in your hands. Coaches education. Tell me. Guy D license in your conduct. Legi CAF that they them sa di dimbale in nakaturati. member associations. You talk about administrator education. What has been done? The general secretaries, most of them don't even understand what they do. With due respect to them, and they want to. We offered. Some of us wanted to share our knowledge and experience. You stop them. We are politicking. Imagine all those clubs that came. Most of them were academies. Do they have votes? Those people are not voting. For someone to share their knowledge and ideas, this is what happens in Africa. Sometimes then some of these things are designed because Munich in power, they make the people who are voting them in office new how are narrow-minded in the sense that ñoom luñ dee xalaat mooy ne suma team bi dafa war a qualify or dama war a stay because yow li nga xalaat mooy ne su ma leen votalul dañ maa toroxal.
Wow.
That's how they design everything. But then stakeholders get to understand, need to understand ne leen fa teg. I have a right to speak whatever I have to speak. Man maa dee génne suma xaalis bu ma fédération bi di jox jógeewut ñoom seen poste. It comes from FIFA. So it's not ne ñoom ñoo la nekk di jox xaalis. So if you look at that, referees education. I looked at safety and security, technical department, grassroots development. Grassroots development, nationwide school football program, FIFA talent development. You saw the Minister of Basic and Secondary Education came out and said that. Scan 8 and them are still complaining because there was so much ambiguity about the funds, naka la xaalis bi war a demee. ñooñu yëpp ñu ngi toog. You made them participate, you made them believe. Lan lañ fi defoon GRTS? They made GRTS believe that if they broadcasted the match in chess, they get this money. Lan moo si xewoon? Somebody got suspended. Youth leagues will be introduced. Regional U15, have you seen any? Regional U15 league finals. U15 national team, have you seen any? Super Nawetan competition zones will be supported to organize their own competition. Has anything like that happened? Another one. Their midfield 5. National Football League and national award ceremony for the league immediately the season ends, where both the champions and cup winners will be officially decorated. Mangla won the only awards that happened. Mangi won Sidiga. Those who say they were Durang. I was in the middle of it. Since then, Ben Amut Players Association feeling try send boss new fight guy. Now they also jump send boss with them obsolete. Players Association be what happens? You probably don't even hear anything because the subvention be tight in Nenko. You feel that some of them voted for us or whatever. Look at this. National second division, free capacity building, women's football division. Then you increase women representation in the expo and women leadership at all levels. Which level? Now that something has happened, let us see how they're going to treat this matter. Regional football development. I'll send you this, coach.
Yeah.
I have the soft copy because Lolu mo njëriñi manifesto.
Yeah.
Lolu mo njëriñi manifesto, so you can go through it and it is there. You can Google it on standard newspaper and it's there for every journalist to see. But the only time most of them would want to interview you, the election I want you on my platform, and everybody asks the same questions. But maybe, with all due respect to them, but you use not because you're taking sides or anything, but somebody came out and said, this is what we're going to do. They haven't done it. That is what a journalist is supposed to do. Income generation. They said they were going to add up to the sponsorship they got from Baluo. Tell me, I think in the marketing department they have 3 or 4 people there. Ben sponsorship gisuñ ban sponsorship. Even the QCell one with the national team, it was through the NCC.
Yeah.
What are they getting? And any institution that is surviving on your own like that, especially a sports institution, which means you're going south. They will look for income generation avenues. They will look for Lengwade. They're not telling you what they're going to do. They will look for. Why? Well, they're probably looking still. And they promise to ensure the men's national team, they promise to ensure the Chan team qualify for its first ever finals in Algeria 2023. They will qualify the national under 23 to Paris Olympics in 2024. Have they done that? These are all promises. They said, we also promised to win our 3rd AFCON U17 title by 2025. No, the reserves, the welfare fund, Bundigon.
Explain.
Exactly.
Yeah, welfare fund.
Have you ever heard of that welfare fund?
And that welfare fund, there are a lot of ex-national team players. You get suffer right now. They're really, really suffering.
No, some of them that they even invited to the office. Largely the ones they've invited to the office and paraded them on TV to say this is what they. Motor coach money. When we celebrate mediocrity, this is what happens.
Yeah.
Because when we start celebrating mediocrity, which means we are average people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, great minds talk about ideas. Average people talk about things, small people talk about other people. So if we start celebrating mediocrity, we are either average or we're small. So whole yeneen dëkk yi nii de football is moving and they'll tell you football mu ngee dox si dëkk bi football mu ngee dox si dëkk bi players yi ba léegi ñu ngee struggle xale yaa ngee dem back way. Even the pitch you guys play is not standard. Yow da ngaa wax ne it's not the responsibility of the federation to build this. Why are you going to FIFA to collect money for that? su fekkee ne du sa responsibility, use the money for capacity building, use the money and give it to the teams nga tasaare ko gars yi and all of that. And every year yaa ngi wax regions yi and the clubs ne wow, you know the money we get we spend it on national team, you know that is why we don't give you your subventions. You know ne that's where you're going to spend it. All these years, why can't you work on your budget again rather than copy and paste? Because same budget bi nga dee indi rek nga code fii wàññi fële del. Listen to this properly. Yow nga ne dang dee spend xaalis bi on national teams. 2 3 years, you have an idea now how much you take from the FIFA coffers to put in the national team. So in the MRTC AGMB, capture Lolune now this portion of the funds we are going to we've earmarked this and this will be spent on the national team. Then Lucy des Lolo la spend again. Why federation you get increase more staff? The last time I was there, the federation pays over $1 million in salaries every month. Over $1 million is in salaries. And more staff are coming, more interns are coming, they're accruing more expenditure. So tell the stakeholders, 20 million lenje gene si halisi FIFA bi ñu dugal ko si national team bi ngeen tege ko side regions yi, but the excuse they continue to use ne waaw halisi national team bi loolu halis bu ñu leen war a jox subvention yéen a ngeen use halis boobu yëpp si padiums di ko jox nit yi ñu tukki. Everybody is traveling and nobody sacrifices. So tell me, how is the football going to develop? You're doing the same thing all the time and you're expecting different results.
Hell no. Hell no.
CRR, the regions, right now,
Yeah,
you are
Lola Burundulal, because a lot is happening around the regions. You know, for Burundu who's to them because they're important role. You said, and I stand to be corrected, but TRC, send manifesto, promotes this bottom top approach where they will start things from the region, a regional association, the empowering. And people, this GFF has also said the same thing. I know they sneak around, stealing people's ideas and stuff. But right now, what is happening in CRR?
it's not just CRR, coach. Hanga CRR, I think I made noise about it at the time when guy choose Mba to be the third vice president.
Yeah.
And I said, Bernard president, dumuna hold nyari positions executive be. Bernard Nitki dumuna hold nyari position because the third vice president position is an executive position as per the constitution. The Regional Football Association is another position as per the constitution because constitution bilungwa, they get elected at regional level and then they confirmed at the AGM. So ban incompetence moy nek ci football family bi ba nga xamne yow mun nga jël ben nit mu nek RFA president ba pare mu nek third vice president. Stakeholders ci gisuñ lolu we set this kaas naa ko ñoom seen boppa ñu wax ñu ne dañ koo fix. It is almost 2 years, no election has been done and he's still serving. Lan moo si génna TRC rek mooy génna mu wax ko, and TRC is a civil society organization. We have a right to sound our opinion on things of this nature. Then the CRR issue is still pending. Nothing has improved
still
there.
there is no election to vote for the presidency.
No election whatsoever. Numukunda Kanye is still the president. And in fact, Mangi Degane Homa, president federation bi dafa am 4 slots to Saudi Arabia from his counterpart. So, in fact, Fognamba is one of the.
I was very fortunate to have that information as well.
Okay.
Giving them, four slot, four slot, putting them Saudi Arabia on a hard package, and I keep wondering, I mean, some guy now, then I worry, So
No, coach, it's fine. But then I hope 1 cent of the federation does not go to Hejna Padiem. Fine, it is okay. His counterpart is giving him 4 slots. Come like they would say, these are gifts and things like that. We should be mindful. Because we saw Ahmad, that was what got him into trouble.
Yeah.
Because all those people he took to that Umrah package using CAF money landed them in hot waters.
Yeah.
You understand? So I hope they do not take 1 cent from the federation. Going to Hajj, is an Islamic pillar. So lolu mom ñu ngi leen ñaanal ñu dem ci jama, ñu ñib ci jama, because from what I heard, the second vice president, the third vice president, the general secretary, and the finance officer at the longest serving staff at the federation, ñu ngi leen di ñaanal ñu dem ci Hajj jama, ñu ñib ci. But let them not take 1 cent from the federation, because lolu mo dugalon ñom Ahmad ci problème when they use CAF resources. So those are things you have, like I said, regional football association mu ngi am issues yu bari. Da nga dégg regional football association am nañu fa xee o lii xew na o jotaanguñu seen subvention, amunu ñoo play, referees yi jotaanguñu seen xaalis, ñu ngi ngunu léegi nga dégg RFA ñu ngi dem di leb nit individual pour ñu mun a meet up certain responsibilities. Waaye stoput federation bi pour ñuy tukki, but this is what they voted. Because mu ngi fa woon how many years? We told them we will give you a pickup to ease your mobility. They came and said, oh, they will also provide them pickups. Ay de bu nekkul sa halat mënuloo ko implement. They said they're going to provide them.
Because ni mo amé resources yi, yow xamuloo ni mo amé resources pour mu joxe pickups yooyu noonu. So obviously yow so dégg ne diw mu ne dama laa jox moto, xamuloo naka la moo def pour jot moto boobu noonu. Yow nga ne da ngaa joxe moto, obviously doo ko mën a def.
Coach, URRFA, same thing. After the demise of Furu, man lima dégg ñu ne ñoom dañ adjust positions. There's a constitution. There's a document that is guiding you as to how you should do. Once someone passes away, that position is vacant. You cannot just sit as an executive and adjust positions. And the federation is looking at it. Accountability. Someday, whatever you do, when you leave office, so you late Ousseynou Ndiaye, ñom Alhaji Ousseynou Ndiaye, ñom Obi Konaté, ñom xam nga ñom Gabi Socé, understand nga, ñom Sidi. So gisee ñu leen di taga nii because of they've done something. Musuloo gis any federation in the Gambia boo xam ne dafa am this much animosity from the people, from the general public. I'm not talking about the stakeholders, because stakeholders yi ñu bari dañ dee ragal pour wax.
No, baranga story ma dog la fofu nonu sa baranga story ben association, ben football president in this country amul the opportunity to spend $616 million within 4 years. man like dama I was very fortunate Sidi Kinde mu fa nekk one time maa ngi amoon transaction bu ma doon rom ports ma egga fekk GFF messenger bi ñëwul mu yónni ma si airline pour leb tickets yi pour female team bi dem Sierra Leone mooy seen away game bi Sierra Leone but the first time you qualified after our World Cup. dama am pour yóbbu kayiti kenaan bi si airline bi pour ñu tayle ko ñu jox ñu ticket.
Well, the federation will tell you.
Because these people have to travel today. I wonder.
This federation will tell you they also have their title deeds at the banks. They will tell you the same thing. But nga take a title deed at the bank to get the funds at Finco use is another thing. Man lima nekk di wax yow yaa ngi xam ne yaa ngi am financial constraints, amuloo any sponsorship. A federation or an association that is running without sponsorship, you're relying on FIFA. So FIFA togon tay ñu am another president that decides to take a paradigm shift to say ne lii laay war a def, because of fu mu nekk nii they heavily reliant on FIFA si naka la ñoo spendé léegi FIFA suñu waxee ne léegi performance based la ñoo defee yéen what would you do? yaa ngi gis Infantino mu ngi visit all these African countries. They go around all these countries. When was the last time Infantino came here?
Well, he's not going to come here.
They're going around opening. They're going around opening stadia. They're going around, opening projects. Ñun mënuñ laa woon benn single project. Da nga foog ne FIFA, duñ dee gis the things that are happening here. Di nga ñëw fii di rek nii benn teg dañ daan wax ñu ne GFF daf daan nekk a leading, presenter when it comes to FIFA Forward. Leading presenter and implementer are two different things. We're still waiting to hear about the 3.0. FIFA 3.0, we're still waiting to hear the access nañ funds ak yan project nga present, because FIFA ñoom dañ la fa dee time rek di la xaar. So for me, li ma doon wax CRRFA has that issue. URRFA is the same thing. It's the same thing. Mënuñ laa wax, kañ la gaay dem Congress. Even ñooñu tamit ñu ngi door di employ the same approach bu fédération bi dee def. Dégg naa seen page bi su nit li fi ne rek ñu remove la. If you speak your mind, you get removed. yooyu noonu yëpp these are things yoo xam ne there should be an approach boo war a adopt to deal with issues, build their capacity and have a way that you deal with them, not just the general secretaries, the coaches, the referees, the medics. You know, when capacity building have you seen at that level? So waxee ñu naan la our CAM project, coaches, administrators, referees and medics boo xam ne si
non
biir baa coaches
coaches yi moom ñamawuñ koo wax suñu waxee coaches yi moom man suma boppam man maa dafa nekk partenaire waxee suma diggante ñoom
you
because defuñ dara
coaches
pour
yi
coach
léegi ñun suñ teams yu win league bi sax léegi cannot go and participate in the CAF in the club
they
championship
can't they
because of
can't they can't
with the club licensing now that they've introduced ñun egganguñ fa because of you need those criteria, you need all those requirements that you need to fulfill. The domestic level, federation is at liberty to choose lan criteria lañ bëgg a put in place. But at the international level, CAF has its own criteria. So imagine yow amuñ any stadia, amuñ any domestic stadia boo xam ne mën nga faa play match. Ku win league bi léegi nii nga win Real for instance, I mean for them to go and play outside, dañoo play seen home and away bi yëpp outside. That will kill them. Because yow la daan lu fédération bi daan jox gars yi fii mooy ñu jox la 250,000 in cash ñu ne la 250,000 si GFF hotel bi nga stay foofu noonu. It's incredible.
doy na waar précis doy na waar waaye these are issues yoo xam ne dafa baax ñu ko waxtaan moo tax it's been a while amuñ la fi because boo gisee sometimes ñuy am ku mel ni yow because how many people out there are willing to come out and talk but if you depend on the media ñoom ñu bari ci daf leen dial they are not ñoom amuñ njëriñ as journalists because they only talk about things yoo xam ne man xam naa ko or they talk about transfers so only a few of them ñooy laal issues yoo xam ne dafa sensitive so we don't have a choice than ñuy invite ñoo xam ne they know what's happening am nañ all the facts nga xam ne fii ba ngoon fii ba ëllëg you can talk and kenn du ko dispute because you have facts on the table so it's unfortunate ne Gambia boo gisee our football is going backwards two ways. We have very corrupt officials. That's number one. Two, they are not transparent. Three, the media is a very important arm in any middle country. Is weak. We have a very weak media when it comes to holding our people accountable. Because of most of them, they want to enjoy traveling or they want to have these privileges from the authorities. For that being the case, daf leen dee limite ba nga xam ne ñoom duñ jéem a wax digga te soo nekkee journalist you are limited. I'm sorry yow loolu loolu amul njëriñ. You talk about ethics, you talk about all those things waaye yow when it comes to the ministry or GFF xam nga you trying to dodge some very interesting questions. So moo tax yow sa maas bi once in a while il faut ñu am la fi pour ñu mën a fossibir them in details for the people in the Gambia ñu xam what's happening and what are the reasons ba tax tey despite the fact ne ñoom Mauritania ak Liberia, South Sudan, all these countries are moving forward. You have infrastructure. Gambia ba léegi mu tam. So this is something loo xam ne very sad.
San
Very sad.
San
And ñun as Gambians ñun duñ bàyyi.
San
ñun duñ bàyyi man duma bàyyi Sana du bàyyi Gamfo duñ bàyyi and all that boy sawaay
San Mendy ñun si mun nga ñëw dugal si media bi waaye ñun li ñu naxari mooy ñi war a liggéey bi ñun dañ waroon a toog si seetaan di déglu di share suñ opinion ak ñoom waaye ñooñu suñ xoolee suñ journaliste yi duñ ñemee wax yenn wax yi loolu moo ñu prom because dañ feel like ne il faut am ñuy wax suñ waxu nit ñi duñ mën a understand luy dëgg bi because ñun duñ ennemi ak kenn dëgg bi rek la ñoo toppa so obviously ñun duñ media ñun nekkuñ
no Sang Mendy had a point Sana man maa yow léegi kenn mën ñoo génne si biir bi we are part of it wala dëgg wala tooñaa ci wala dëgg Sana maa yow we are in
Anyway, I mean, Lamin Boy started with Nasia the Agio. Lamin Boy Dabo. Our football has been bad from day one till now, and they abandon the people in Foni Nyobi in so many places in the Gambia. Concentrate on just the combo. For me, that is a big no. We are all equal in sports, but in the Gambia, only combo people matters. When it comes to our football, which is very true.
And Salah, guess what? Even Schneider, our authorities, they concentrate on in combo. Combo is combo is zero.
Yeah,
But look at the infrastructure in combo.
yeah.
Zero.
It's the infrastructure is the worst right now, and I mean you did talk about that because for Monica, I mean Linbukas and Shadibu, we saw parks in Banjul Sadibu, it's been dilapidated very very badly. In fact, it's
Sarah,
not
the
fit
worst
for
the worst pitch in the Gambia is in the capital,
yeah
our
in
capital.
Banjul.
Thank you.
It's not even fit in. It's not even fit for anything, and teams are getting noppy, stakeholders in getting noppy. And they don't want to talk about things that are affecting them because players can get Ganu every day. Maggie, um, Gambia Dudley and could be, I had him his interview one time. He was very, very, angry about what was happening on the pitch. Why do they have to play on those kind of pitches? Coaches in Yinginopi, administrators in Yinginopi, everybody in Yinginopi keep muted about it. You know, just to see it that I mean, where are we heading to, Sadibu?
Okay, coach. Thing is, football has a responsibility to get its house in order, but also it has a huge opportunity to influence society and empower the youth. Uh, Man li ma dee wax, every leader should have vision going into office or assuming position. And when you have a vision, you need to have a roadmap. When you have a roadmap, you need to have the tools that will take you to where your vision is. So, vision, roadmap, and tools, those three are important. If you ask the federation now, what is the vision? I'm not sure what they're going to tell you. But if you have an establishment like that, anybody who knows dafa understand. You go to a team like Arsenal, they know the vision team be. You go to a team like Man City, xam nañ ne lii mooy vision team bi. Vision daf dee mën a change after a long period of time su fekkee ne yaa ngi monitor di evaluate di gis lan ngay mën a def. When you promise people certain things, it is a debt. Man li ma foog mooy ne the federation owes the stakeholders a duty of care. And stakeholders are in a position boo xam ne ñu bari dañ dee ragal a wax for fear of retribution comme ni ma ko waxee yaa ngi ragal ne soo waxee di nga door di am red card dinañ jaay sa match o léeg-léeg xam nga léegi-léegi sax tombé moo dee indi ay gaaf yow mun ngaa am a baat foo sax nga foog ne léeg la but people should be able to speak up. People should be able to speak up. If the fields are not good, something has to be done to fix that situation as soon as possible. I said it earlier. Federation dinañ la wax ne developing pitches is not part of their responsibilities, but you're taking monies for it. If you're collecting monies for it with projects that you've shown to FIFA, spend those monies on those pitches and get the pitches playable so these players can play. We offered an insurance scheme for the players, but I mean, I think they felt it was not important. Player yu bari ñu ngi am career threatening injuries. You have medical doctors léegi, especially these young doctors ñoo xam ne they are all making research and they are all doing their studies ñu ngi am seen documents yi sports medicine. Are we bringing those people in? So vision, roadmap and tools. Federation bi time bi passé wut ñu ngi am beneen 2 years ngeen toog ngeen realign naat ne lii mooy vision bi. Roadmap bii la ñoo jël yoon bii la ñoo jël naka lañ faa demee dañoo jël cycle dañoo jël moto o nii lañ faa demee and there has to be people ñoo xam ne ñooy monitor and evaluate strategic planning. Get people who are going to help you do that. Where we are, Where do we want to be? How do we get there? And who's responsible for what? So put those mechanisms in place. Coach, man dama feel ne we are still in a position bo xamne dinañ mëna dem fenen. I said this in the debate ne our football is at a crossroad and it requires a committed and dedicated leader who can do that. If you do not have that, ko xamne is looking at the interest of the greater good, we have a problem. We should be comparing ourselves because ñun dañ dé xam nga dëkk bi leena mo dé nekk problème bi moy Gambia plays against Senegal ñu ngi over ambitious ne yeah ñu ñoo Sénégalais yi dañoo win dañoo lélé. You look at their developmental stages naka la gaay dé def bañ éga fii nii. What do we do to get to that level? ñun lan lañ nekk di def so suñ demee foofu noonu moo tax dañ war dee tànk suñ place yi. So if the leadership doesn't have the vision and then they set a roadmap and decide what tools they're going to use to get there, all these things that we're going to do, dañoo nekk on autopilot, like we're not heading anywhere.
But Tracy, I want to dafa am lu ma bëgg mu leer si boppi Gambian si. Senegal, I understand that part of the money bu ñoo spend pour rehabilitate or refurbish seen stade bi màgget yi is coming from FIFA, right?
Wow, they get from the FIFA for they're also getting monies from
Well,
FIFA.
What is stopping the Gambia Football Federation from also tapping those funds? Now, partly can go to the stadium. That's
Well, as
number
I
one.
said,
Number two,
I'm not sure what is stopping them. I'm not in a position to
well,
answer
I
that.
want to
But
I want to give you
why
two.
the FIFA?
Harabaga ñaar and then you're ñëw on them. Number one, Senegal is not a part of the money is coming from FIFA. The
Yeah.
Gambia never do that. That's number one. Number two, how much money are FIFA investing when it comes to the national team? Because I'm not new one FIFA that they am na amount of money that put to support the national team. Moham Vesla, Moham I don't know where. So bugana nga
National
ñëw
team
fofu ñu.
solidarity. Yeah, there's something that they call national team solidarity. Depuis 2020, 2022, Nekumofa. So I'm not sure whether they're still accessing that, but there's national team solidarity. The forward, like I said, the FIFA forward fund is different from the national team solidarity. The FIFA forward fund, I'm going to 25%. So from Fofunono, if you have specific projects, that's what you spend on. This is not their responsibility, but yaa ngi am yeneen dëkk yoo xam ne ñu ngi use funds yooyu noonu di develop pitches, develop technical training centers, and FIFA would go there and commission those pour ñu use ko. I don't know what is stopping them from accessing those funds now. To be honest, I cannot answer. But what I believe is, su fekkee ne jël nga funds for anything, you should be able to go and do that. What I do know with Senegal is the federation has a very good working relationship with government. So if they get a certain amount from FIFA and government is willing to come up with a certain amount, they come and show government the link and then they meet each other halfway and complete the project. So FIFA would be able to account for ñoom xaalis would because FIFA at the end of the day send interest mooy na development na football play na athletes yi a very conducive environment na fans yi ñëw ñu seetaan so they can generate more revenue. Ay FIFA plus 11 plus yooyu dégg noonu yëpp it was supposed to generate revenue because suñ ko amee you're expecting people to go online. And in order for you to be able to present something, for football to be beautiful enough to be put on screen, the pitches have to look nice.
Yeah.
So if the pitches are not looking nice, all those are bottlenecks you have lola. So for us, we believe, funds in your receive should be spent judiciously into rehabilitating these projects you have lola promise niti. Money meant for football should be spent on football. The federation has promised the stakeholders. Stakeholders should hold them accountable to some of these things. To say ne li nga ñu waxoon te defuloo ko. So man si suma xalaat ak si suma gis-gis mooy ne su fekkee ne funds yi mu ngi foofu noonu from FIFA nga submit a proposal because FIFA doo dee dem rek nga ne la ñu jox la de. Dañ dee dem ñu jox leen a project proposal to say this is where we want to spend the money. And so what TRC did was in our starting 11 we said we were going to approach them and say this is what we want to do. This is what we're going to do. We want to do grassroots development. We want to, develop standard pitches in every region. At least region bu nekk mu am benn playable pitch. And you don't even need to take the money from FIFA. So buge. You can tell FIFA, this is the project we have, design the project, have the consultants, present it to them. If they like, they can pay the consultants directly. But once you start touching the money, am so long again, if you do it brings problems. So it's good new tangal guy, new why so why they new way. So what they new way. The federation owes the stakeholders a duty of care, and we just implore them. Let them just get on with work and get things happening. Stop this issue of the monies we're using is meant for national team. So you're helping the national team to grow. But then we should be able to do even better to move further.
Thank you.
When it comes to female football, the female national team, ban tanka lafa effect bi taxawé. Is it very similar to the national team, whereby it's owned by the state and you expect the government to do all? Or when it comes to female football, is it there are enough funds for hamne is coming from FIFA to take care of the female national team? Nah, female national team, is it the same as the male national team, whereby government should do the most part of it and maybe JFF will just complement?
Okay, this is a very interesting part. Mangi ngi touch ben part nga comme the female national team is it owned by government comme the male national team. Gis nga when the federation even said they are private. If you say you're private, I think I made a statement on that. You are private. Okay, national team, the most ideal nature, my national team la, so the government should be able to invest money into the national team. All right? And then there's a federation Bohane has the mandate to run football in the country. So that is why there's what they call negotiated autonomy. Because the federation is not autonomous as they tell people. Because Yange on the national team, all the funds that are being received for football are received on behalf of the Gambia Football Federation. So even government should be able to be in a position where they can say, we want to see your books to know. Because even NGO they have to be submitting their, their annual budgets to the NGO Affairs Agency to see whether they are operating within the confines of land dictate. So if you want government to take its responsibility on national team, you should also be transparent and open enough to them to say, this is what we are going to earmark for the national team. But if there's an animosity in between the government and the federation, I'm not saying that's what is there, but to make any misunderstanding, and there is not a smooth working relationship, it will be difficult for government to fund your projects. What I said, like Senegal, what they do is they make sure government is aware of the projects they're embarking upon. Whatever they do, they don't do the silo approach. Other countries, that's what they do. If you look at the Pamoja bit, Tanzania, Uganda, and Kenya, when they were bidding to win the AFCON 2027 hosting rights, the government was highly involved. So for you to be able to do those things, net, government move on the take your budget to them. You know all the matches that you're going to play in a year. You know all the competitions that you're going to play in a year. You can send this to the government to say, this is the budget for the year. Because estimate la. And then you also have the budget be, di nga am yenn site yoo xam ne mën ngaa capture dara. Why FIFA in itself mu ngi am funds allocated for women's football, whether it's capacity building or national team travels or league development. They are separate from the FIFA forward funds. It is there. Go to the FIFA website. So national team am na equipment solidarity boo xam ne da nga soxla xaalis pour ñu jëndal la equipment like the jerseys, the partnership they entered into with Salah. They also have travel solidarity boo xam ne dañ laa yokka support su fekkee ne team bi dafa bëgg a tukki. So loolu yëpp mu ngi fa yoo xam ne you can utilize that. But su fekkee ne yow nekkuloo di transparent ak government pour wax leen ne maa ngi am lii for national team ak yooyu noonu yow da ngaa génn government mu make statement there's negotiated autonomy. Government am the right to tell the federation any day, bring your books, we want to see how you spend them. They can hold it, but government can also say, okay, fine, the fact that you're doing that, we don't want to do anything with it. Because you cannot say na yow yaa ngi control team bi ba pare nga bëgg a ñoom ñu fon ko yow doo ne yow yaay tooga bi ba pare nga bëgg a keneen mu jox la dépense soo bëggee ñu jox la dépense kuy tooga dafa bëgg a yow tamit nga tooga lu mu tooga. Even though the relationship they have with the government is not interfering in matters of football, because the understanding xam nga mu ngi xaw a des soo leen waxee ne hey government du interfere because su interfere FIFA daf leen a ban FIFA fu mu waxee ne bul interfere mooy ne ñu elect people into office yow nga ñëw nga ne dang leen di génnee. If FBI can raid the FIFA offices during Sepp Blatter to say they want to see their files, if the police in Spain can go and raid the Spanish Football Federation office to say they want to see their files, that shows you no federation is under immunity for those things. But the ideal relationship is the federation should start telling government how much they have, how much they're into spend on national teams, and how much they're going to spend on other things. Because ku xam sa doole moo la dee mun a yërëm waaye ku xamul sa doole, because I remember there was a time ñun musoon nañoo dem government and I cannot remember man PS la mu ne maa ngi si FIFA website bi yéen a ngi am xaalis boobu noonu yëpp, which is true. They see those things and they wondering, because su nit toogee mu dégg 616 million, hey, $616 million, that's a lot of money. So that is the situation. So that's what they call negotiated autonomy. Boo xam ne you are not as autonomous as you believe you are, because turi Gambia bi nga nekk di live in, if government says can do travel outside, you cannot do anything. If government says don't use our name, you cannot do anything. So you are not as autonomous as you think you are private. If you're private, then Gambia would not be there. So it's a mindset reform and the intentionality we should approach, and I think as TRC, what we need to do is a lot of civic education so that people understand. You just fancy send aha, because fancy athletes they gonna indi halis. And if we were into office, those are some of the transparencies that we're going to set. Because debate it's important that the general public sa xam naka ngeen dey spend halis. Then dinañ la yërëm. But right now, the government population, everybody sees 616 million. You cannot go anywhere and then you can funding. But once you start making the general public understand, like TRC said, each of the committees, then we're gonna, have independent people, new staff committees, then the understanding of people into football, didn't get wide. I was at the African Football Business Summit, and the Brazilian ambassador said the amount of money football brings in the Brazilian economy is in the billions. That is the power of football. Well, sports in general, football, because the Neymars, the Kakas, the Ronaldinos, Hamga. You know the amount of money they will bring, the inflow. So if they get remittances in it, you have no idea how much of the inflow that comes from these players. Football can do that. And some of these players can own big businesses in the country.
Yeah.
So fuck ñu fulal football bi, fuck ñu understand ne lii nekkut yëfi ne people are in power dañ leen war a mbas ñu génne leen ak yooyu noonu. No. That is why we were trying to do these training programs pour nit yi mun a understand, but yooyu yëpp ñu ngi ko stop. Recently, coach, you're aware we did the TRC seminar, May 1st. What we're trying to do was to build the capacity of every member koo xam ne yaa ngi TRC, so everybody has that understanding. Because you go to certain platforms, and that's not what we're looking for. We want people to understand football properly so they can invest. It is not new rek new play, new dem be fancy enjoy, new dem new werente attire. No, it is much more than that. Football is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and we can start something here. Loo xam ne dina mun a transform not only the lives of the players but the social realities of the societies they come from. It's possible. The league professionalization, we talked about it in the starting 11. We said what we were going to do, and I said it's easy because this is a CAF. They came with the club licensing program. You have the domestic licensing and the international licensing. I read this a long time ago. Domestic licensing bi yow yaay put in the criteria boo xam ne loolu ngay wax ne club bu bugg a play si CAF si league bi da nga war a meet lii. am na ñoo xam ne dinañ am full license, am na ñoo xam ne dinañ am provisional license, am na ñoo xam ne di leen send back so they can come back with the right documents. loolu ngay dimbalee clubs yi, because soo statutee somewhere duñ mun a dem fenn. But as it is now, we are going through the same thing. So I think it's about time you allow club general secretaries and the club presidents, some of them, you them on these capacity building programs. You have the UEFA assist that we would have tapped from. Invite them and say, please, we want you to run this kind of program to build the capacity of our general secretaries, to build the capacity of our presidents. Workshops you need. And when you do those workshops, people understand football, then mindset within a change. Because being a problem when I'm finished, coach, 90%, or should I say 95% of the clubs are registered as charities. Charities do not make profit. We have to adopt a business mindset, which is one of the ideas that we wanted to bring in to the federation. Nga xam ne clubs he would adopt a business mindset. You start the register as business, then they can conduct other businesses to support their clubs. Because most of these clubs go to the same people. Even the individuals go to the same people for support. Then booga balls, then booga equipment. So da nga gis ne in turn tamit yenn fans yi tamit don't even understand ne ñoom ñoo war a mun a tax club yi ñu dox. So indee jaasi pour jaay sax ñu naan la doo leen ma may jaasi match day ñu naan la doo ma may ticket. You don't blame them because understanding bi. But once we try to change the mindset, employ a business mindset, affaire si dina dox. Then fans yi sax dinañ understand ne su ma demee match ñi duma pour ñaay su ma demee match ñi duma pour ma call coach because soo dee dem video club da nga dee génnee xaalis pour nga fay. So the same way ni nga jàppee loolu mu important is the same way boo xam ne noonu ngay jàppee ne league match bi dafa important su ma demee foofu su ma raka laay dooleel te su ma raka boobu noonu su captee moom tamit it comes back to us. That is the approach. So for clubs yi tamit ñu am that approach ne we are not going to be registered as charities. We are an association, am nañ constitution, xam nga we have a president, we have a league. Because once you have that constitution, yow moomaatuloo ko. Issue of ownership, most of the people who come to me for advice, the first thing that you need to establish is the issue of ownership. Kan moo ko moom. Once you establish those things, nga am sa vision, sa aims and objectives, then you know yow ban direction nga war a dem. Otherwise, we have a problem.
Tracy, Bobo was deep and precise. Lead important, like this kind of clarification for people you have to follow so be. Even that, a guy you get done because the moment you get the flyer and Saturday is coming, we GFF, we ministry, you get done. I'm going to have it. Wow. The link to you are just most of the things young repeatedly happened young 2 years ago. So you could learn from their mistakes, right? And I think that it's not helping us. But coming go ahead, they still have 2 years to go. Why my small opinion, I think most of them are thinking about retirement, how to make ends meet, than try to leave a legacy. Because in my opinion, Lord effort in 8 years or in 10 years, I don't think the compile in 2 years is practically impossible. So system BMOM is already deeply rooted. Most of them they put themselves first than the country. Most of them defal na ñaari football pitch intelligence, why they prefer to drive those cars than to see kids kicking ball in URR or NDR. Lolu moy diga. Why bala ma bay sana mu dem rek because bobu sa man like lolu, people always sometimes guys they use terms yo xamne dañ bëgg mbamal nit ñi. Xam nga melni yow understand no fekka diga bi moy ñom nekkuñ di def things li nga xamne non la fa wara démé because bo gisé Sénégal mo ñu ëpp xaalis xam nga ñu use part of monies from FIFA pour xam nga renovate stade. I see no reason to tax Gambia mun ta tap funds from FIFA help government to renovate the only stade bu ñu am. Waaye tamit soo xoolee in the other way, if they can use monies yoo xam ne pour Serekunda Isla woon West ak Gunjur gars yi embesal loolu so loolu ma laa wax ne ñoom seen time in Gambian football bëgguñ fee bàyyi legacy ñoom the only legacy bu fi bëgg a bàyyi mooy ñun suñ time la Gambia qualify ñaari yoon te qualifying to the AFCON is not the most important thing. The most important thing mooy yow li nga put on the ground mooy the foundation youth football school football league infrastructure loolu is way more important than Gambia qualify twice because ñun we went dem nañ AFCON ñaari yoon waaye lu si gagné lu si gagné even sa a player sa pour sa mu am sa a transfer sax amul waaye su nekkoon ne all those monies were spent on infrastructure school football and xam nga I think that would have been better waaye unfortunately loolu nekko di am après when it comes to capacity building last time ñu ngi ko fi wax Kaba taxaw na interview di wax ne there is no Gambian bu am a license so kon Gambian si duñ mën a nekk coach te yow yaa fi nekk 10 years yow nga nekk fi 10 years yow mun loo liggéeyanti license coach suñ coach si ñu am license it's your responsibility yow mun loo koo def but amuloo séem pour nga taxaw di wax ne there is no Gambian ku am a license ba bu tool yi tàngee ba tànga si la gaay sixth jox T-boy relevance but prior to that nobody was given because bu mu wax loolu moom xam ne T-boy was mu nga def course waaye they don't care waaye bu tool yi bëree gaay am pressure then they all turn their attention to T-boy def ko a darling te initially bi nga wax loolu xam nga ne T-boy was doing his course so there is a lot of problem and then capacity building pressing from the referees from the coaches
Bulwark coaches
and even some of their junior staffs man gis naa ne they ain't doing much because Vero demoon na fi course gars yi bind a whole article ne ñoo ko fayal wax fi lu rëy after ñu found out ne ñoom failing ko yaa ma understand so going forward yan moo nekk the primary responsibilities of the federation when it comes to capacity building yoo xam ne they have to do it or and ñoom am nañ the capacity to do it.
Habib, boobu dina difficult because of ñoom xam nga they have a manifesto and I think they should go by the manifesto. If they promise the stakeholders that they're going to conduct capacity building programs, they should, they owe them that because, as I said, a promise is a debt. If you promise them that, you need to give them that. I'll give you a short thing. Mauritania is largely covered in desert, okay? In 18 years, between 1995 by 2003, Musuñoo won a single match. They didn't win any single match. In 2010, they had to withdraw from the AFCON qualifiers because of Halis, financial crisis. By 2011, they were ranked 207 by FIFA, practically one of the poorest in the world of football. In 2011, the then current president, who is a CAF vice president, they voted him into office at a very young age. Very young age. Yeah? Mu restructure league bi, mu ensure ne mu am sponsor for the league with the biggest telecom, mu fix salary players. All the players need to have salary. 2014, ñu win seen first league game, seen first match away. Xam nga ñaata la gaa use from the FIFA fund? They used 10 million from FIFA funds to build a stadium. They play home now. They've built an ultra-modern training facility. Boo xam ne dañ fa dee camp seen under 15 yi ak yooyu noonu yëpp. And in 2019, they qualified. Same year ñun bu ñoo qualified. No, they qualified before us. So imagine they are using monies from FIFA. And that is the president Bohamne has been consistent. He's been in power. So all these things that you're saying, to fake any president be amna vision, dina ham roadmap ban la mo jël. So man, I believe federation be made promises. Those promises should be kept. I've talked about the manifesto. They've talked about the midfield five, the back for the striker. Let them look at it again and then just serve the stakeholders what they want. Because when you do that, because football be dafa am lum soxla, and clubs yi ñoom ñoo gën a nekk di suffer in the sense ne 100,000 buñ dee receive for transport support or transport refund or waive registration is pittance compared to the amount of money those clubs are going to spend, especially now that transportation is going to make an issue. So how many clubs are going to do that? There was a time where the federation buses were meant to be transporting players from excuse me from Banjul to Jara so much, and Bobusa had so many issues. Man suma xalaat mooy ne ñoom am nañ responsibilities to develop football. What this federation should do by now, let them separate the league from the federation proper. Even if they can parewul leen to professionalize the league, get a league management body. Let the clubs come together and have that body. Understand nga? Then from there they'll have a president, a general secretary. The federation will have an oversight function responsibility. Federation ni moko oversee de nekkul ne dañoo demal seen boppa. But man suma gis-gis suma xalaat bu gàtta mooy ne xëy na fédération bi lu ñoo xalaat mooy ne suñ créé league management body teams yi dañoo am doole mun nañoo def lii but teams yi ñoo tax ñu nekk foofu noonu. So yow soo créé a league management body boo xam ne league management body boobu noonu ñoom tam dinañ am seen responsibility pour dem di uti ji funds to be able to run the league. Dinañ create avenues boo xam ne dinañ xalaat naka la ñoo amee gate takings ñun si suñ boppa ñu séedoo ko because léegi ñun ñoo ko moom. They will protect themselves. They are the ones that are going to pay the referees and all of those things. So the league management body, come no I'm a professional league, like the FA and the Premier League, is different. So you so started for gradually no ngay mëna démé sa by the time you bo xamné professionalize nga league bi ñoñu understand nañ how to do issues. But suñ create a league management body to separate the league from the federation, dafa hampa sen growth because they impede. That way, the federation will be able to concentrate on developing, promoting and developing grassroots football, women's football, capacity building. Yo mun nga nek di indi sa idea sa programme sa league management bi mun nga la ne okay ñun dinañ leen jox 10 million from the FIFA funds. Loolu ngeen use pour ngeen run sen league bi. So the league management body can sit and start cracking their heads to think ne legi fan la ñoo mëna amé extra funds to be able to continue the league. Then amongst themselves, they're able to decide. Why federation being an oversight function, they cannot do certain things without you because they're under you as the federation because you control TMS, you control licensing teams you have the new qualify. So you control and then you allow them to play, then you have a league management body. When you do that,
Wow.
it is easy for you. Gis nga comme government naka la create all these different authorities, GRA, lu tax Ministry of Finance nekkuñ di collect tax. But what they did was they created an authority, GRA, yen collectal len ñu tax. Social security, yen defal len ñu li. So the league management body being created is not like they're going to compete the federation. No. You ko control, but then jox nga len responsibility, am nañ guidelines, am nañ statutes boo xam ne mooy control lan la gaay nekk di def. Lolu dina len compel because dina am president ni bopam. You can say okay league management body be or one of the most successful presidents or one of the league ñom seen bopp ñu tok ñu ne for instance excuse me legi mu nga ne right now you say Sanayafa yo yaay president ni club bi ni dem nañ election yo yaa win. It does not mean that you are at par with league. Even Senegal sa sen league management bi ak lifin bi du ben. So then nga am that pyramid. So it is easy once you start introducing all those domestic licensing criteria, you go meet nanka, fofu la ñu éggé ñu dem té passé wu ba légui. They can have that idea for free. Set up that. Separate the league management body from the federation. Then federation bi dina mëna focus xëj na sax yeneen xaalis yoo am di nga mëna nekk di develop ci su gaay nekkee di struggle fii nii di nga mëna def loolu di nga mëna build capacity di nga mëna fund national team. You can think of creating an ultra modern facility boo xam ne yaa ngi run youth leagues ak yooyu noonu support schools football. When you do that, then it makes life easy for you. But otherwise,
Wow.
it's very difficult. Even the professional league thing.
So lastly mooy gis nañ fi gars yi ñëw make noise ne ligue bi nañ ko ligue bi dafa turn pro in a year or two. Yo, yeah, I see football administration and you understand a lot of things. You travel around the world, them ga meet nga ay Uganda, them nga ay Tanzania, Kenya, them nga for you see how it works. So yo, from your honest opinion, do you think Lolo is doable in 2 years or less? Can the Gambia Football League turn pro?
Okay, moo tax ma ne domestic licensing criteria bi loolu nga dee njëkk a introduce to pour nga turn dara into a certain system da nga war a create ay criteria pour ñu ñoo xam ne ñooñu nga bëgg pour ñu play foofu noonu ñu mit ko at this point even before the club licensing boo xam ne CAF moo ko conduct fédération bi war na moo mun a conduct own licensing programme am you should be able to create your own licensing program boo xam ne loolu ngay create ne domestic licensing yi teams yi from henceforth any team boo xam ne da nga bugg a play si league bi léegi da nga war a am lii da nga war a am lii da nga war a am lii that was talked about I'm not sure when the first time when we talked about the UEFA assist program. It is possible in 2 years. It depends what you call the professional, because so when professional, you're not talking about professional come European professional. But criteria you established like CAF, admin, you have the admin and personnel, you have the sporting, you have the legal, you have the infrastructure, and then you have the finance. Criteria you know la. The legal criteria mooy ne clubs yi yëpp dañ war a register, not as charities, because dinañ nekk di jaay player charity du jaay suy jaay tamit dafa war a am si confines yoo xam ne yooyu la war a mun a nekka because right now what government has done, you have to thank government so much because government do tax teams yi. So legal criteria bi mooy ne all the clubs have to be registered as businesses if you want to play in the league moving forward. Admin and personnel, because your own criteria nga ne okay admin and personnel da nga war a am contract ak sa staff yi ak players yi. You can go to the labor department and ask them what is the minimum wage. Labor su la waxee loolu, that is what you would use as the benchmark ne lii mooy the minimum wage. Any team boo xam ne yaa ngi si league bi lii nga war a fay as minimum wage to your players. All the players sign that contract. So it can even be called a semi-pro because professional dafa am fu moo demee. At least you semi-pro. Am nga loolu noonu. Infrastructure bi all the clubs must have a fixed office. Dañu war a am office. Foo xam ne foofu la ñoo yóbboo seen letter. Apart from the office, you should have your own pitch. If you don't have your own pitch, you should be able to enter into a contract or an agreement with any pitch owner to say anything I would play home matches. Gambia amun suñ stadium, why they muna dem play suñ matches in Morocco? Excuse me. We played in Tanzania. So you should be able to have that. So ame you know financial criteria bi, they want to ensure that you have audited accounts. And then you can present that to the federation to what understand nga lii ngeen dee def. So once you start somewhere, xëy na am na clubs yoo xam ne duñ meet all the criteria, so they get a provisional license. You can tell them before the league ends, try and meet the other criteria. But if you do not start, you're not heading anywhere. Why fuck you start? If Senegal has its own professional league, nim melon professional league bi nim melon 3 years ago, it's not the same now. Yaa ngi gis ay DJs ay yooyu noonu ñu ngi broadcast seen matches yi because they have standard pitches and they're playing there, they're able to attract sponsors. So all those things, the things you should be able to have them in position. That way, yange muna jox fans something to watch. Yange muna jox potential sponsors something to put their money into. Because if you're going to look for sponsor, parce que Gambia mostly dañuy dem ñu bindal la letter ñu ne la we're looking for sponsorship. In return for what? You should be able to tell the potential sponsor, this is what I am giving you in exchange for Lee. Why dem nga bindal nit ki and half of the time they don't even have a budget. It is difficult for you to be able to do that. But when you start a journey, take action, and become accountable, you can professionalize the league in 2 years. But it has to start now, and the capacities are built. Because if people don't understand what it is, club licensing, living buñ def nii with the CAF 2 days, solve ko.
Thank you very much, Sadibou. xam naa ne mun nañoo dem di continuer di dem rek
leer na de
waaye il faut ñu am fu ñu ko
knowledge is
teg.
power.
We are 40 minutes into the show. te ba pare am na yenn areas sax mënuñ koo laal. Waaye lii mooy discussion. Suñ ñëwee it has to be very productive, and I think it's been really really productive. Why balaa maa dem rek am naa fi text from a very prominent journalist in the country. It reads, Nko, he said, since last year, I have tried to several times to interview GFF boss, but he doesn't respond to my messages. Every time I send him a message, he doesn't respond now. He will read it and ignore it. I think we, the journalists, have a very big responsibility because we aren't doing enough as well. Some are afraid to speak. Accountability is a problem because if journalists are benefiting from the system, then there is a problem. I think I will agree with him. Why? Let's if you go to the Jeff press and he doesn't want to um you know grant you an interview, that should go to the public domain because you know it's like they're blaming the journalists for giving false information. I remember General Tamba used to have that kind of problem with almost everybody. If you said something, well, go to the federation and ask. These are the one guy, which he was very he was very right about. But here's the thing: you go to the federation to ask for informations, ask for interviews, to ask questions, they would never respond to you. And I think if any journalist would have known you, you've definitely did your quota. Journalists benefiting from the federation. No would God no would go sir. Then I'm saying crew boo xam ne boobu la gars yi suñu amee seen tukki ñu dugal leen ci ñu yóbbu leen. So xëy na am na ñoo xam ne mën na la ñooñu dara. Ñooñu ñoo nekk di people ñoo xam ne they would not be doing anything with it. But I think this guy has tried his best. He reach out because I'm sure they don't like the fact that then you get one the journalists they are not doing enough, which is right. It's the truth. But also, if you really try it and they are not giving you the opportunity, to ask questions, there is not much you can do.
Well,
You know.
if people in public office should be able to face the media, I don't know the reasons for the president not doing that. Man, mom, like I always say, man, I do not media. Man, any media house more interview, buma sola, suma ame opportunity, I'll go because it's important because that is the way ngai muna clear the air on issues because otherwise hamga dang ko bay no muy raise suspicion hamga nit yi di halat different things. But we just urge the concerned journalists to just continue to pursue the matter. Hopefully, he or she can get the opportunity to one day interview and ask the right questions and get the answers.
Yeah. Sorry, but why not them? Do you have anything to add up in this journalist issue? I guess now Lamin Boy Dabo is also, most of the journalists in the Gambia are
Am
the
nga
same.
Gambia
Which is
Gambia
which
moo
is which is true, which is really
Gambia
true. And then man talk now journalists, them now Gambia talk now mom. Man like, why do you do this? Why do you do that? Boy, it's what interest last it. And that's not only him. That was a like face-to-face conversation. And my response to him was, Are you really for real? Yo, are you thinking about the future of your own kid, the future of your own nephews? You also figure that approve your just to satisfy your financial needs. Are you thinking about your kids? What does the future hold for them? I don't think people think about those things.
No, coach,
xam nga sana
man lima de wax, it's beyond even. Are you thinking about those kids? Dañu war a dee compare suñu bopp rek ak yeneen dëkk yi. Dañu dee dem AFCON ñu compare suñu bopp ak yeneen dëkk yi seen lifi nii. But you look at the progression of those players. Fan la gars yi di jógee ñun suñ players yi si pitch suñ dee jógee nii and then they go they turn pro in the most difficult situations.
Yeah.
What has to be done here is we have to create the conducive environment. Su fekkee ne dañu wax ne dañoo develop football fii nii we have to create the conducive environment. Coach, the regions are going through some difficult times. Why duñ ko wax RFA yi they're going through very difficult moments, but they're not going to say it. Well, if you don't get it right at the RFA, how will they get it right when they come to the second division? Because it becomes a strange world to them. You watch league matches and then you see them playing on sandy pitches. It's okay because they can be, sometimes those are the things we celebrate. But you swing your way to play on an artificial turf, and then you play a region like NBR. I don't think they play and a match on an artificial turf. You play and game yep, see sandy pitch. Triangular bi ñew ñu wara dem play on an artificial turf.
Yeah,
They might even you get my point. They might even lose the match because of play meaning di play si turf.
Yeah, obviously.
So daw yaa ratax sa yaa show bi yaa oytu parce que si suuf nga miin di play xam nga ni nga taxawee ak si xam nga si lifin dafa ute. So yooyu yëpp are things yoo xam ne should be factored. LRR, for instance, has ñoom am nañ foofu noonu. You'd be surprised that ñoom mostly dañ dee am team bu qualify because triangular yi foofu la foofu seen kër la they understand it. CRR and URR amuñ pitch boo xam ne you have a surface that you understand that well. Yéen a yëpp a ngi play si sandy pitch. So when you come here to play your triangulars, it is difficult. Like I said, you start a journey, take action, and be accountable. I think it is still doable. You know, nañ wax rek lan mooy vision bi. And stakeholders should not be afraid to speak up. Man, I remember when I was contesting for the elections, I've had all sorts of things. Bultahaw, Halelga, Kotoidi, Agu, and I'm wondering how old do you want me to be to contest for the presidency? You've seen, people who are way younger. You get contest for certain positions, they're winning and they're doing it. Leadership is not about age; it's about the acceptance of responsibility. That's what maturity is about. You accept responsibility, you're able to deliver.
Président Diomaye Faye magulali Sénégal seen président bi.
Diomaye maa ko mag. Waaye
waaw so xam nga Gambia dafa naxade wax nga suñu waxee ne journalist yi are not doing their job loolu nekkul it cannot be all but is the bigger number because bigger number bi su defee liggéeyam rek the bigger the noise and the bigger the noise the bigger the reaction from the population waaye su nekkee dafa am lu xew mu nekk a serious crime nga gis gars yi di ko downplay comme lu xew ci right now lu xew about that sex scandal loolu is a huge news but guess what only few of them ñu am the audacity
sexual assault case la du sex scandal.
waaw wax nga so you could see a few of them are talking about it yaa ma understand ñu ngi ko minimize comme mu ngi mel ne loolu nekku dara waaye di nga gis news boo xam ne is irrelevant o nga gis xam nga yeneen def beneen gars yi xam nga they all jump on the news as if that is the turning point of our football fekk it is not so ñun dañ gën a suñu boppa and journalist yi dañ si am cër ñun sangmandi lu wax mooy dëgg manaa yow yëpp léegi we are in the media we are yow nga ñun léegi ay media gars lañ but ñun suñ jànga soriwut noonu waaye lu gën a important ñu ngi ko def mooy wax dëgg so yow if you have your PhD amul njëriñ because what the people want to hear yow loolu ñeme ngi la ko wax man ak suma grade 9 certificate sa malatal because man ñeme naa wax loolu so yow what is the point of nga spend 12 years of nga jànga journalism with all the ethics dem ba Europe ñëw waaye li nga xam ne fuy métti yow loolu ñeme ngi la ko laal yow kon yow you're not serving the people koo xam ne sax amul sa certificate sax moo tane koo xam ne dafaa ñemee taxaw face the Gambian people wax leen li nga xam ne mooy trend wax leen li nga xam ne mooy xew nit ñi kooku la ñoo déglu tey boo gisee ku mel ni Sarayafa o man o Gamfoot o Chama Jolof Bantaba ñu am relevant si space bi te nekkuñ journaliste wax dëgg moo ñu ko may because su nekkee jàng journaliste yooyu noonu nekk Gambie ñoo ñu gën a jàng su dee binda yoo ngi daxa binda waaye lu tax nit ñi léegi joxatuñ leen noppa because most of them are not doing what is expected from them. You understand? And that is a problem. The media is important. The media will have a whole authorities accountable. So lolu moy our biggest problem. While going forward, like yeah, it was a good one. You so you you know, I'm like because you are very busy with your business and with your also with the agency.
Bala nga dem si agency bi Lamin Boy Dabo bu ngi laajte benn because bu ko man mu wax dara ma bañ koo laaj Sadibou mu ne maa ngi daw maa ngi baat Sadibou, you know, and I'm not gonna do that, you know, man. If you have anything crazy, if you have anything tough to ask Sadibou, you cannot ask him. Just naa ko laajte because I mean we want to know we don't want to be the one, you know, just to say yes to him. He said most of the journalists, most of them are the journalists, are with Kaba and Kamaso too. So meaning they will not tell the truth in the face of Kaba or Kamaso and much more. So I mean he's arranging them like journalists. What he don't you don't be I mean you should have a professional relationship, you know, with authorities, because so naked journalists, you should be you know, you should be very truthful to your job, you know. So ethics, you need to make sure that you uphold to your principles, you know. So definitely like, it makes things really difficult, and this is
No,
like
see,
this is like
Lamin Boy, bala sari wuli yo, man, I want to, bukana falal. Ñun man suma wax dama wax ñun mooy maa yow ñun man lu ma toppee nit nekkut sa tur nekkut sa xaalis man lu ma toppee nit is leadership quality ak ethics ak your words. People like myself boo gisee ñu am a huge trust in Sadibou is what he represent ci space bi ak lum xam-xamam ñun ragalu ñoo wax dëgga anybody kooku noonu that person is not on earth, Mr. Dabo, kooku judduwut man ku ma àndal dina la wax dëgga, and Sadibou is no exception, and he will tell you that. Ñun duñ jee martaat, I will say it that way, pour nga dëgga ñun no, we don't lick people's loolu noonu for money. No, we don't do that. Ñun buggu ñoo topp kenn pour nga may ñu dara. Ñun we put Gambia first. Ñun ku ñu xam xanaa ku ñu xam ñun ku ñu xam Gambia first. Man Sadibou lu tax ma believe in him is what he represent, not lu ma jox. No, man doxewu ma noonu. Man suma gémmiñ bi man maa ko moom kenn moomut ko. The club I love, Mighty Real de Banjul, Willie moo fa nekk, Abraham, the most successful sport team owner in the country by a country mile. He's a millionaire, he has money, he's a successful businessman. Kooku is my brother and my boss. Te toppee ma ko dara lu dul leadership. Ñun du jee toppa nit pour dogo ñun xamuñ loolu. Ñun fuñ jógee xamuñ loolu de dogo comme ñu toppa Team Kaba because they want to go to AFCON. Ñun doxuñ si yooyu. Sadibou, we are with him because dañ feel ne nekk na ni koo xam ne am na xam-xam bi, he's young and yàgg na moo liggéeyal Gambia for the longest time. They spend his own money. We have to differentiate the two. Gambians yoo xam ne they work in the sport and spend their own money for the past decade. Yaakaar lañ am si moom waaye not palace not xaalis. At TRC, Sadibou is just the president. Why nekkut boss? If he is wrong, then ko ko wax. Te balaa nga xam ne man I mean my word. Yàlla defoon tey Sadibou nekkoon GFF president and some of the things you promise Gambians yi defu ko nga seet ndax man dinaa tëj suma gémmiñ may si naan loolu du ma ko def dinaa ko wax ne yaa waxoon ne dangaa sampa every region dafa am a playing surface all what lu mu promise su ko defutee man dama ko xool accountable man noonu laay doxee other people like how they go about their life is entirely on those people waaye ñun toppuñ kenn pour dara like I said if I want money we have Willie Abraham borom Real da Banjul big man la whatever I want to have from him daf ma ko jox because noonu la ma bëggee waaye man du ma noonu sama yaay fatam nekkul noonu and other members of the TRC ñoom Daddy P all those brothers meluñ noonu ñun duñ koy toppa it ak xaalis de we are way different from those boys yi toppa taba duñ benn ñun toppuñ gaay pour nekk my commissioners no ñun AFCON if we want to go to AFCON we know how to go to AFCON so we are in a different scale because ñun Gambia lañ gom te man suma gom Gambia bi amul just ci football anything Gambian I'm in man noonu la ma yàlla bindee so there is a huge difference between those boys ñu toppa Tim Kaba for their selfish interest te in front behind the camera dañ laa woon ne they are there for interest. They don't even hide it. Yeah. They will tell you. They will tell you. ñun toppuñ gaay pour ay su Gambia amee match nga mel ñu VIP ticket no. Willie Abraham used to have the tickets for the Gambia like ko every match yi Gambia man damaa fay suma $1,000 dem toog VIP te Willie mu amee tickets te su ma bëggee ticket daf maa jox te Willie mosut maa may ticket yi match yi Gambia home no I'm paying my $1,000 to watch Gambia the only time Willie jox ma ticket mooy bu Gambia di play Angola it was strictly invitation jaayuñ ticket te Willie xam na ne I deserve to be there mu jox ma ticket waaye when it comes to buying ticket I'm buying ticket for myself and suma boss is in charge so ñun I can tell you for free we are different ñun at TRC ask anybody ku bokk at TRC foofu dëgg boo fa am de amut gende martal amu fa de waxante dëgg boo fa am if sa bu goju long dañ ko ne presse yi non bii moom andu si that's how we do it
Yeah, and
that's how we do it te man suma personality du ma ko dee caaxaane because my egos are bigger than my head te man bugguma kuma point figures so I'm not joking with my integrity hell no we what is that the same thing applies to Sana the same thing applies to all those other boys in the TRC
no,
as Habibi is saying TRC is not Sadibou. I think we've tried to make that as clear as possible. It's the project. Is not Sadibou. I think that's the reason why you get most of these capacity building programs, the seminars, the exchange ideas, because Low and JDF, you know what we do. We throw ideas, then we debate, we argue, and then we come to common ground. Just for people to understand, it is not Sadibou. It is the group. Understand? It's the team. Is the team restore confidence? And what we want is to restore confidence. Lolo is separate from being, a voting team. That is a civil society organization.
Yeah.
That is registered. So thinking of banning it or anything of that sort, you're believing it. But just team restore confidence is a group of individuals. We came together for the interest of the greater good in the development of Gambian football.
Yeah.
To promote football development and the camaraderie. Si lolu nak motax ñu dé def suñ seminar yi suñ capacity building programs yi suñ meetings yi ak yoy nonu. It's okay, some people could call it a political group, but it's a movement. So we call it a movement. It is a movement that is there to ensure we keep the people in football in check make sure they're doing the right thing. So yàlla defoon ne it's members of TRC ñoo nekk in office, that body that is established is there. ñeneen ñooy ñëwaat rek yeneen soldat faa nekk rek and make sure ne you're delivering, you're performing. So foog mu am foo xam ne foofu la affaire si dee dooree pour nga eeg nga mun a dem feneen. But I respect what the journalist would say ne xëy na am na ñi ñuy support ñi xam nga loolu gis-gisi nit la tamit waaye man moom what I do know is anybody journalist boo xam ne you feel you want to have an interview with me, you know, you want us to discuss football, my doors are always open. You know, and then
No,
you know we can look at it
Presi,
because we have a media
Presi,
team boo xam ne ñoo dee
hey, you
xool.
have Mr. Dabo Bini. This Mr.
Yeah,
Dabo is a young Gambian living in the UK.
okay,
He is also a guy for him. He loves his country. Mungam a
okay.
media house Mohammed is doing a very 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 good job when it comes to Gambian sports in general.
That's
Momonika
wonderful.
behind it, Mugi employed it Gambia. He is somebody for him. He's very passionate about Gambia and about Gambian sport. He is doing a great job. Mr. Dabo is doing a fantastic job when it comes to Gambian sport. Mom,
But the journalists
that's
yi moom dañ ñoo war a mën a dimbale pour yóbbu football bi to another level because they play a very
no
pivotal
mom.
role. ñoom ñoo
Mom,
am the
mom, like I said, his platform is really great. They're going to the even everywhere trying to cover, interview people, they have prize. Hanga, his platform definitely contribute a lot when it comes to Gambian sports. Why most people have dafa dem ba si biir mu gis yoo xam ne dafa jaaxal. Because initially moom amutoon that foresight when it comes to Gambian football. Why? Bu mu demee ba involve si biir ba bëgg a am yeneen links si moom si la xam ne oh kon this is how it works. So moom si boo xam am na a deeper understanding now because daf ko dunda moom daf ko dunda dafa dem ba gis ne Gambian bi it's not easy. It's not easy to excel. Waaye ba léegi jiba wut mu ngay joxe price xam nga mu ngay def coverage. He is doing a fantastic job. Maa moom I admire his strength because he is spending his money and nobody is giving him money back. So he is somebody koo xam ne for the
Visionary.
past years mu ngi spend xaalisam si Gambian sports te xam naa ne nekkul di si am uh, uh, money back. It's the
More praise
person
to it,
and
Elvis.
and his contribution towards his country. So kudos to
Amul
him.
lu dul encourage ko rek.
Kudos to him. Kudos to him.
Yeah,
Jambara. Jambara.
yeah. You know, passing in soon 1 hour 20 minutes mark. We 2 hours now, and I think the moment I
Sadi
keep
Bula.
Sadim
Sadi bu su
Tempo.
ñëwee amut limit.
Wow,
Yow you know.
wow, wow.
ni
So
ni ngeen ma def tooki tamit de.
yo, fuck you.
moo tax
I'm la
gis nga
du dee
yaa ma
yomba.
teg ma ne la maa ngi Angleterre mais ma ñibbi Gambia parce que ba man
Wow.
bi ma waxee ma ne la parce que xam naa ne su ma dooroon loolu.
Yeah,
mooy
but
ni
but
lan
but 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 Presi duñ la mën a bàyyi nag te joxuloo ñu a round up because
Yeah. Loolu laa bëgg a ñëw ak moom sports like what is happening, because sometimes anytime doo génne rek leneen xew. So
ba pare maa la yóbbante woon si Ibrahima Koli suma bés bi ñëwut fii laa ko waxee nag
non boobu dama fàtte.
Presi
bu ma nekkee
Ibrahima Koli
Netherlands.
waaw ba pare sign la new
dama
deal
fàtte.
léegi it has to happen send my message to Ibrahima Koli wax ko ne man dama soxla bésam
non
ne ka sign na new deal it
dem
first
na
up
national team tey.
we have to stay
so tey.
okay
Lamin,
loolu
Lamin,
Dem
come
na
on,
national
come
team.
on, Lamin. Just to answer your question, I can give you a direct contact to Kamoso. If you want to hold a conversation with him, get interview, so he
absolutely
talk to you. We will.
absolutely
You can have him on your platform. You can talk to him. But I know Kama wouldn't face Kamoso face to face. Lolu training ko try out ko pour mo am do am. Lolu du muna am.
in fact, Sana, what is
Unless
the name of the his platform? I forget.
LDB Sports, something like that.
Yeah, LDA, yeah.
Yeah, Hasim Oscar. He's working with Hasim.
Hasim Oscar, small boy.
Who's a very good guy as well. But
Another great
we
guy.
will we will keep in touch on that matter. Sadibu's Sportslex. Formula Joe Tejena. xam naa ne nañ na amaat nag because women football we need to talk about women football. How can we empower them for them to have a voting rights? Aliou Wenga dina ma mere nag because mu ngi wax ne we need to talk about Choro Red Scorpion them si African Champions League bi which is something the plan is to have Choro on this platform Choro on this platform promote share experience because 3 years in a row winning the National League 3 years in a row I mean it's just amazing
back to back bi dafa xew de.
the first time authority and be in National League bi so Real de Banjul don't give back to back
Sana,
loolu
Sana yow
loolu
nag si yow lo. You started this show without saying a huge congrats to the mighty girl de Banjul.
non mënumaa wax huge congratulations to Real de Banjul
I
because
know why.
li ma def mooy dama bañ ba invite Willie Abraham si platform bi so next week Friday
Sama
Willie
boss.
boo ñëw toog si hot seat bi and we will talk about it so obviously dama fair
El Presidente.
yeah man dama fair so dama ko indi si platform bi we discuss about Real de
Sana,
Banjul generally we discuss about football
waa déglu ma that day nag kenn du ñëw manaa wil naka ñëw kenn du ñëw it's our show.
waaw non amul problème dinaa leen jox cër
waaw
boobu noonu ma jox leen loolu amul seen problème Sadibou Sportslex what is happening because you know um we want to know gis nañ ne trials ñëw nañ romb nañ we want to know what are you working behind the scene.
Thank you, Sana. As always, swing defe bena trials. What we do is we identify the players that the scouts have selected for their respective teams, and then we try to move them out of the country. The last time the scouts that came, two of them were from Italy, and one was from Croatia, Istrapola. You know, right now the players that are supposed to go to Istrapola, we are working on the easiest way that we can work on their visas, because Croatia do not have an embassy around this end. In Africa, they have Morocco and South Africa, and I contacted the South African the Gambian ambassador in South Africa told me when she made contact, they said Gambia is not under their jurisdiction, so it has to be Morocco. So you need a visa to go and apply for a visa. Like the club is also looking at xam nga lan moo gën a yomba ak guy so they can work on this, because these people don't do they fly just pour ñëw fii rek and then go home like that. So we can assure you once we finalize that, those people are gonna go. June bi lañ waroon a am the next trials, but it was an oversight at the time ne June is Tobaski. So we are looking at July hopefully for the next trials. And like I tell people, what we do, we create the enabling environment, invite the clubs, they come and perform, and then kuñ gis ñu bugala and they'll take you. Because a lot of people will call me and say, Mangam player buba ki lifin la, or dama buga make a player sport like agency and stuff like that. Lima de buga ñu de understand rek moy ne affaire ci du dé woogee noonu. Naka la player de muna transfer moy ne fekk club buga na la. If you're performing really well, especially in a situation bu nekk ni league bi professionalizing ko, so agent bu la represent, there's little that they can do. Dang dey gis a lot of times you have government players yoo xam ne ma use opportunity bi dañ dee nekk fii nii scout yi ñu gis leen ñu bugg a koo yóbbu team bi ne la noo kii agent bi moo ko amee. And li ma dee wax gars yi ne agent moomut player, club bi moom player, agent bi lum dee def mooy intermediary la. So yow kooku su nekkee intermediary yow nga am keneen koo xam ne am na offer, they should be able to negotiate with your club to transfer the player. So what Sportlex is doing, because you know they host Sportlex, you know they coordinate. I have my reasons why I haven't done the agent exams, because but we're looking at July hopefully. We just need to get the clubs to confirm, because loolu lañ dee bëgg ñun we don't own players. We want the clubs to come and look at you, so when they take you, they know they are going to put you somewhere. That way, you're not being transported like a commodity. Because Motangay is a lot of players you have they them Europe or they go outside the jurisdiction. You call and la dama am problem. Suma agent bi daf ma indi be fini mu dugal ma si problem dama buga nga jappale ma. And I keep telling them the player nekkut commodity boo xam ne da nga ko dee génne from one place nga yóbbu ko feneen di ko jaay comme ku amee sa doomi liñoŋ o sa saaku maalo di ko jaay clubs yi suñ buggee ñoom ñaari dañ jee mën a négocier intermediary bi mu facilitate affaire si mu mun a dox. So ñun at Sportlex what we want to do is to give as many players as possible the opportunity to go outside and play. If that is the way we can contribute to developing Gambian football, we will not stop. Léegi-léegi nga invite yenn clubs yi ñu ne duñ ñëw xam nga and for me dama dee wax ne you have no issues with me, and besides I'm not the one who gets signed. In fact man duñ ma dee fay xaalis. So if your player comes and then they play, you identify them, then it is the clubs that get the revenue. So if there is strategy depth, if there's anything anybody can do from any angle to be able to do something to develop football, I think we should be able to do it from our own corners to make sure Gambian football moves forward. The only time being at the swing football be dafa neka way behind mooy soo demee si yeneen dëkk yi. I travel extensively. So they maintain in decay and you look at the structure, you look at what they have in place. You go to certain platforms, you go to these summits and you speak and they're like, but you're from Gambia, yes. But you're saying these things te fekk seen dëkk nekku fa. Xam nga daf dee ñaaw. So ñun luñ bëgg a mooy ne suñ football bi tamit mu jëm kanam, and it can only be possible su fekkee ne indi nañ all hands on deck. We will disagree. We will have our misunderstandings, xam nga, because it's good pour ngay am opposition so that dara mu mun a dox. While at the end of the day, football more ñor, and ñun we will do everything that we can in our own little way to make sure that we give the players that opportunity so they can go to the next level to be able to change and transform their lives and the social realities in their societies, because they're able to help other people in their families, they're able to buy clubs. So we say the likes of ñoom Babacar Steve Trawale di mun a jënd club léegi ñoom I'm told Omar Colley owns a huge chunk of shares in BK Milan because they've gone professional. So Lolo Wonderland, there's a lot that they can do. And we've seen the amount of cash they're injecting in the team. So eventually, Lolo mun naa xew sax nga xam ne ñoom seen boppa ñooy ñëw sax bugg a nekk ay president like the likes of Samuel Eto'o ak yooyu noonu. So it's all possible. It does not have to be a lila, but interest of the greater good moo war a supersede ñun ñëpp suñ interest. So greater good bi ñëpp benefité yow si sa boppa di nga benefit in your own way. Why you're so benefited, the greater good is not benefiting, then that is where we have a problem. So man dama foog ne daal sotti ci def ci la ñun we will try to give these players the opportunity to showcase their talents and go further. Man maa dee tukki ak players yi dama dee gis the look on their faces when you're boarding the plane or when you arrive. Dan dee gis naka la how naka la gaay dee feel ne things happen na. Because sometimes léegi-léegi play them foofu sax they feeling all nervous dama leen di wax ne calm down because dañ dee ragal medical test ak yooyu noonu. And I want to use this opportunity to say that the federation by now should try to introduce those things where dañoo introduce basic medical tests, basic ones, echo ECG, echo ak yooyu noonu, check xooli gaay ak yooyu noonu, because dafa dimbale suñ football bi rek du wàññi dara dafa dimbale suñ football bi. Loolu yëpp micro steps yooyu noonu nga def benn def ñaar def ñetta dina tax ñu mën a dem feneen. Am na young doctors yoo xam ne léegi des sports medical practitioners. So coach, ñun we're not gonna stop. We have things in the pipeline. Yeneen xale yu ñu identify and the paperwork are being sorted out, and then hopefully another batch will go. Am na ñeneen ñoo xam ne duñ dee bëgg a publicize, but inshallah we'll try to help as many players as possible to see how they can.
am nga example bi nga jël noonu Omar Colley ak Steve yëpp suma équipe bi ma leen fi génnee maa ngi fi Real Dabaji. So loolu waaw loolu I like that.
Ruben Cissé
I like that.
Hawks bu ngeen
Why am na young players, am na yeneen young players yu moom academy, am na not young players, am na yeneen professional players yu moom academies léegi de. I hope you're aware.
But I'm seeing I'm not buying hell. You guys are trying to focus more on the academics.
Waaw lu xew mooy ne reason bi mooy ne academies yi ñoo du benefit si football soo xoolee top teams yi am nañ opportunity. Academies yi very rare ñu am the opportunity pour mun a jaay player and half of the time seen players su leen bàyyee sa dem si big club su transfer bi xewee training compensation solidarity mécanisme dara du si dee génnaat so daf dee
Okay.
difficult so loolu moo dee tax nga dee gis yenn draconian contracts yoo xam ne yooyu la académies yi tamit dee am ak players yi ba pare leneen tamit
Yeah.
mooy ne yenn European clubs yi they want them younger they're looking at 16 to 18-year olds
Yeah.
am na ñoo xam ne they want them older su ñëwee dañ laa ne we want an older player a player boo xam ne su ñëwee rek dafaa dem play the likes of Seny Sanyang went and straight mu doon play Bulgaria
Yeah.
Peska mu doon play si top league bi so am na dëkk yoo xam ne dañ bugg a players yoo xam ne su ñëwee they play automatically am na players yoo xam ne dañ bugg a xaar waaw waaye leneen tamit mooy ne level yi football bi moo eegut si level boobu noonu suñ players yi am nañ natural talent ok waaye the kind of football you guys dee gis suñ demee Europe la nga dem nga yóbbu player foofu noonu force des train ñu ne la saa dama sona because coach xam na li ma wax ni training yi duñ benn yow nag ngay foog ne sax xam nga so loolu tamit is another problem and loolu li ñoo ñaan rek mooy ne coach si tamit ñu am that opportunity to build their capacity to understand from the coaches level from the fitness conditional level from the assistant coaches level because like assistant coaches is a new day coaches
Yeah.
are more like policy makers so
Managers.
levels yooyu noonu yëpp soo bàyyee xel modern football soo gisee ñoom ateta yëpp ñu ngi mën a succeed because they assistant coaches moo tax I'm even happy coach dafa waxoon nañ leen fa laal waaye xam naa beneen yoon I'm even happy to see ñoom T-boy xam nga ñoom Alaaji Sarr ñoom ñëpp ñu ngi fa si national team setup bi
ñoom Paan.
exactly when you have loolu noonu di nga xam ne sa backroom staff bi mu ngi okay ne there's a good succession plan
Transition, yeah.
so xale yi tamit suñ players yi suñ fi jógee léegi-léegi yéen nañu si top league bi ñu dem dañ dee dem ñu ne saa yi dafa flop dafa fail trial c'est fait que failul de mu ngi dem different atmosphere bi ba pare style play bi coach bi nu moo communicater language barrier bi ak some of these things is difficult waaye when you understand the dynamics from a young age daf dee easy so moo tax gars yi léegi-léegi they want them 16 to 18 so it can be an older player why it has to be last week I had an agent that called me mu ne dafa bëgg a top striker koo xam ne xëy na score na more than 15 goals in league bi top striker minimum 15 goals su fekkee ne mu ne because team bu ko bëgg a top team la xam nga façon yooyu noonu it's moo tax gars yi léegi-léegi ñu dee bëgg a player boo xam ne su demee foofu at least they develop them 1 year or 2 then ñu gis ne transition bi is good and then they can go to the next stage.
ma waay Ruben Hawks most likely dinañ ñëw waaw ñun man xam nga man balaa maa kontaan ma gestu gis Hawks gis waay daan man Real de Bangi loolu moo ma dee sawarloo su ma gisee Hawks ak ma gisee yow Hawks moom xam nañ ma Hawks moom nawoon fa woon rek lipp rek Hawks ñoo ma xam lipp rek so yow yaa ngi Hawks yaa ngi BST so which is which Ruben da nga am benn team you have to stick to one team yow nga ne yaa ngi BST emal si BST anyway presque li nga wax leer na and I think going forward the struggle continues Gambia force loolu lañ ñëw the more players succeed the better okay xam naa ne nag in a minute or so am nañ a new coach young coach xam naa yaa ngi ko bàyyi xel from afar so maybe itam am nga si am nga you have your take about the new coach and then because
xam nga ne Uganda suma dëkk la bi moo nekk Uganda laa ko follow I know xam naa
okay
moom moo Paul Put dafa dem Uganda from Gambia mu ngi woon Gambia mu dem Uganda McKinstry mu ngi woon Uganda moom tam mu ñëw so dem nañ dem opposite ways
so yaa ngi ko follow at his press conferences so far
yeah last year sax seetaan naa game am Gorma ya ñu doon play ñoo FC Leopards
okay kon yow kon kii yaa ñu ko gën a xam
non xam nga man duma coach man football rek moo maa dundal man duma coach waaye dama daan follow game am nii because from Uganda xam nga dama maa ngi fa am ay colleagues maa ngi fa am ay
okay
Okay.
Though maybe you might have a feedback from your people from Uganda that sunu waa yële
What they've all
ñu
said, to be
Gambia.
honest, what they've all said, they said he's a very positive-minded and a developmental coach and a coach. Boo xam ne, he has vision. Ba pare, do they compromise, you know, style of football am?
Great.
Understand nga? Because dégg naa bu nit yi doon wax ne comme mu ne team bu player boo xam ne nekkul di play. That is Jonathan for you.
Yeah.
He's worked with
So,
ñoom Sir Alex Ferguson ak yooyu noonu. He's a coach boo xam ne xam nga he's not shy to say ne lii laa bugg a def. Understand nga? So it
Okay.
will be different. Understand nga? And what from what I know, man li ma follow ak yooyu noonu yëpp, he's somebody who can deliver if he's given the time. Because du ma waxee suma gars yi sax ñoo xam ne ñu ngi fuufa yëpp dañ ma call sax ne ma Sadibou, you have a very good coach now. Understand nga? Because sometimes dang dee nekk fee na nekkuloo di deliver ñoom Mourinho ak yooyu noonu yëpp they call them the special ones. Xam nga they
Yeah.
am times yoo xam ne xëy na mun loolu li fi and then you can move. But
Yeah.
I think they made a good choice based on the how man lu jot ñoom Sol Campbell ak ñoom Kolo Touré, you know. But coach Sana
There
loolu
we
la
go.
apply no.
no, then
There,
Bible
there,
say that
there, there we go.
like I told Abib from his press conference. Now the press conference you want the glue. I think he's a smart guy. He knows what he wanted, and he knows he's done a lot of homework regarding the Gambia, and I'm very confident that he's he can have this thing right. My only problem is that we got brainwash. But if he has a very strong character, he's
Well,
somebody who sticks to his own
man,
principles. I believe, he can put his message across. You can see he's not shy away to talk. He's not shy away to outline his plans. And then one thing that stood out for me is he's not going to. He said he's not going to compromise. Players that are not playing, that doesn't play week in week out in their clubs, and they wanted to play, in the national team, which no, it's standard for me. And I think, we just need to give him the support and the time. The federation needs to give him an opportunity to work, try to put his in ideas. Lolu moo tax ngay indi different coaches yi. Buguloo fee ñëw tam lu fi def kii ñëw di def loolu kii dafaa ñëw with a different philosophy. So allow him to
what,
allow him to
what,
implore what he
I,
believes in.
I had a good
Boy,
conversation with
Ivory Coast dañ door Gabon de. So win ëllëg dañ war a door Seychelles.
uh-huh.
Because suñ
ñaata nga
président
demee?
la Ivory Coast door nañ Gabon 1-0. Xam nga ñun football
Okay,
bi moo ñu
okay. Man, I had a lengthy conversation with also Matar Mbodj concerning about this code. Why? am na yu ma wax yoo xam ne loolu it daf ma jox yaakaar because man nit if you are if soo amee principle I like that so Matar tam am na yu ma wax si coach bi loo xam ne from a Gambian point of view loolu nee naa dégg and yaakaar am na even though player his first game waaye su nekkee ne jikko yooyu mu ngi si moom I think ne loolu daf koo dimbale ba nga xam ne players yi kenn mënu ko intimider kenn du ko jaay classe kenn du ko jaay dara because he is comfortable of himself so loolu nekk na loo xam ne lu it's very positive so yow it li nga wax tey based on your colleagues in Uganda so if you put all that in one basket so I think we just have to stay happy or stay positive because ñu bari ñu ngi wax si moom loo xam ne it's really good te ñun loolu right now loolu lañu bëgg a dégg waaye tamit from the first impression di nga xam ne kii ak mootom lu benn he can explain himself easy very loud and precise loolu moom it's not something lu hard si moom
I
so
mean,
you go with all the best tomorrow and our first outing then you am a win because they
yeah.
can it right now.
Boy, program be inform like you take the coffee, doc coffee, because man, I have another meeting in the next 45 minutes.
Well,
And I'm have to drive.
no, Sadibu, in fact, you have a part two.
3.0 be more 2.0 be the 3.0 be again yo. The move do yaga sir, because this women football issue we need to. It's a very important area. Season with Jenna, I think if that petition when you been that petition GFF, the female clubs needs to have a voting right. Stakeholders needs to look into this.
But TRC
You know,
offered them that. They chose to
Wow,
Now they're happy
wow,
with the status quo. I think
wow,
the female
wow,
team, I think the
what
female
they,
teams are happy with the status quo, no?
I mean,
No,
they're not, they're not happy.
they're not.
They're not happy.
No, ñun waaw sana fi tega ni ñun man
Yeah,
tey today is Friday tey fekk ma jéem a doxantu yaata yu ba tuuti fii xal xol weekend la fekk ñu doon waaye nag
Ruben, mu
sa
ne coach bi di mu ne coach bi di dee xaste. Ruben,
mu ne lan
mu ne te coach bi du dee xaste. Mu ne Jonathan
tam
du dee xaste.
waaye sa waa gi tom ñu ngi ko lipp yoo xam ne Asia bisimilah rahmaan rahim
Ma ne bàyyi suma coach bi bàyyi suma waa ji
si
booy
du si
tom.
du si du si mburu bi si mayonnaise bi la si ñun la woon ñu ko dóor yoo xam ne
Salimu, thank you very much for honoring this
Presi
invitation, and we are really grateful
Presi
that you are here, man.
xam nga olof Njaay mu ne ragal a féete naa fexe moo ko def ñun dafa am fuñ far waaye nag despite the fact ne am na fuñ far nekkuñ ay slaves we have opinion ñun foofu lañ utee ñuy ut job pour nekka may fonctionnaire ñun doxuñ foofu ñun luñ bëgg a mooy Gambia dox Gambia progress waaw ñun loolu lañ bëgg a in as much as we believe in you doesn't mean ne ñun ay jaam rek non so
Yeah.
na gaay xam loolu ñun ay góor lañ de
Well, Ruben,
Thank,
dañ ma yaa to rewind. Dañ ma ay
thank.
top of Saja.
Filipino Philippines
Wait.
Salimu, thank
Moom moo ko ñeme ña wax man ñeme ñu ma.
mu ne top of Saja.
mu ne la
Huh?
tom
Thank you
jéema
very
fuñ ko
much.
dóoree mu
Well,
xam
thank
ne
you.
jéema fuñ ko dóoree
Thank you, gentlemen.
mu xam ne luus na muy wax ay 2027
I mean, my top will be part of our history books for
Of
either you
course,
with
of
it.
course.
So,
du ma ko
so
bàyyi
let's buy
loolu
Loolu
let's buy
waaye moo tax du ko mën a bàyyi because he's part of our history book. So,
Exactly. Dama am
non
lu bàyyi.
loolu moom nit ki bala ñaana waaye bàyyi Tom he made history in fact he put the bar really high because now anybody ko xam ne bu ñëwee ba gaa ba léegi minimum requirement is accord te loolu Tom moo ko set
yeah. But gentlemen,
yeah
thank you so much. So gisee ñu yàgga fii nii mun a am discussion bu yàgga bi nii football la.
Yeah.
Lii moo ñu dee mën a wax loo yenn wax yi. Like I said earlier on, we had to tangle in the beginning, make some noise because sometimes it's good to shake. Football has the power to transform the lives of people. It also has the powers to unite people. It also has the powers to bring about peace in a country so that people can have a peaceful coexistence. On top of all of that, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry boo xam ne ñun dooranguñ di harness di tap into that multi-billion-dollar industry because of suñ approach to it. Leena laa bugg a bàyyee clubs yi mooy ne there should be a mindset reform. Léegi clubs yi should stop registering as associations and start registering as businesses. CTRC seminar be last time, I made a presentation on developing grassroots football, what you need, the volunteers, the governance, fundraising, income generation, things of that sort. But clubs here should try as much as possible and build their capacity from within, even if the federation doesn't come to their aid. You have the opportunity to go online when you know certain people, interact with them and start asking them about nakala guy muna atteine yena success yi. Gambian football needs to develop to go to the next level because we are a small country. To develop our football should not be that difficult. We cannot neglect the regions that are responsible to oversee and regulate the academies. If we are not getting things right at the level of the academies, by the time they come to the top, things are not going to go right. Our women's football players deserve a bit more attention. They deserve respect. They deserve the funding boo xam ne moom lañ soxla pour mu mun a transform women's football. ñoom seen number of clubs yi bariwut. When there is a will, there is a way. What we need to do ba léegi is just to draw the roadmap as to fii lañ bugg a yóbbu suñ football bi. Once we have a roadmap, we know where we are gonna go. Suñ defutee loolu rek suñ football bi we're just gonna go round and round and round in circles. And I've said this, we should stop applauding things like the federation am nañ AGM every year because loolu seen responsibility la. Nañ toog ñu xool yan developmental programs lañ indi and some of the things that we can do pour ñu ne Gambian football has transitioned from here. There's a lot of talent in Africa. We cannot be measuring our success by our national team's performance at the AFCON. That is not a yardstick that we should use to say Gambian football is developing. Because all the players that are playing there are all playing professional, te nekk in Europe for a number of years. Now, gis nañ ne this new coach ngay involve younger players, mu ngay even jël players yoo xam ne ñu ngi jógee ci African region bi. Hopefully dinañ am players yoo xam ne ñu ngay jógee fii nii di dem, to that level. I believe when we do that, dinañ feel mun a catch up with other countries yoo xam ne they've gone way above. So maa ngi wax ku nekk jërëjëf su fekkee wax nañ fi any cadre boo xam ne nit gis na si boppam anything football bi moo ko waral rek xam nga léegi-léegi su yaram bi tàngee fans yi mun nañoo tëb mun nañoo wax lele waaye at the end of the day football moo ñu boole. We can always come together and we can always work together to make sure ne Gambia lañ gis Gambia moo njëkkee then the rest follows. Jërë ngeen jëf.
Thank you. Habib, thank you very much, and then hope to see you next week, inshallah.